friends to play Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, nice.
So I just set that up, and then when I left them, I put it there. Otherwise, they might ping me or something afterwards on Discord while I'm on this. So, yeah.
Cool. That's great to hear.
Yep. I needed some distraction apart from my flight simming, so yeah. So how you guys doing?
Good. Just been swamped.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, still, it's just nonstop. I got some great announcements. Well, maybe the one announcement I can't say now. I don't want to say it while we're live. I'll tell you afterwards. It's pretty neat. With both of you, it's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a really neat thing. Whew. Sure, I'm keeping up here. Yes, it's different music. It's music that I don't get banged on every time I play it on YouTube. Oh my gosh, what a nightmare that is. Well, that's good to hear. You hear me too? That's all I want to know, is that I got everything set up. That's perfect. Perfect. Always good to know that you're heard out there. I'm looking forward to this. This is a lot of times I'm like Blackmore, I feel like I know nothing. I'm like Sergeant Schultz, right? I know absolutely nothing about
but
what's
it's
going on.
like when we dive into old modules, I feel like I don't know much about this, and this is kind of I'm halfway there on this topic. But then we have some other topics I feel like, oh, this is home for me. So, but that's a good thing. That's why we're several on the show, so we have different
Here comes
specialities.
Blue Box already. Yes, I'm working through the sponsors here, so I'm getting there. Thanks for the raid, everyone. Thank you, John. So getting through that part. It's still only 7:48, man. I'm glad I started early. What am I doing here? There, everyone. I order you to order the Horror in the Holes for all the new raiders there, if you haven't already. For Carlos and my joint adventure, how's that sound? It'll be an awesome thing. Now I forget what button to press. Oh, J. Let's go with this one. Yeah, J. That's cool. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you all. Hang in there. This is an awesome discussion tonight. It's called Under the Yellow Sails. Are there signed copies, Coma? Yes, there are. Rich Longitalis won one copy on the show, and it was we gave 2 signed copies by Carlos and myself out for gifts for top donators for Underdark Uprising, and they went 2nd and 3rd in the donation order. And I'll say Rob Phantom, who went first, did not take that because he had something else in mind, and number 2 and number 3 scooped them both up. So we have some really great stuff. Dave, you should be getting yours any day, man. Yours as well. You got a great thing coming too. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So we both agreed though that we're going to limit it to 10 double signed copies, period, just to keep that rare so that they're special. And unless we meet up at a con like Gary Con next year in person or whatever. But yeah, that's what we decided was 10 dual signed copies. Oh, Josh is laughing because he's got one of them. Josh got one of the 2 copies that came out for, so. Yep, 10, that's it. Yeah, right, Amanda, 10. But I have a surprise for everyone tonight. Thank you for the follow, Tropico Thunder. I'll get you up on the announcements in a second. Once we get through, we're almost there. What if you roll a 20? If you roll 24 times, so, hey John, thank you. Let me see if I hit this right. Which button? Which button? Which button? Which button? Everyone, can everyone hear us clearly? I hope you can.
Yeah,
So, yeah. So we're starting to get cranked up here. We're early. We're early. So, yeah. Sounds good. That's great to hear. Troy, Cannibal Eridar, got the other copy from the fundraiser. So there you go. So I really appreciated the, you know, wonderful. I mean, $10,000, everyone. It's crazy. It's so unbelievable. This should reach out. It's still open, so we're you know, unbelievable. It was a job by everyone. It was a community effort. Yep. Cannibal Troy got it. He won. When do I ship Bill out to you? Well, that's up to his wife. So it could be any day because he always is threatened to get thrown out of his house, John. So there you go. Just kidding.
50K, that's a
bold statement. Yeah, Josh wants us to double that, $20,000. But I have some ideas I'm thinking in my head, and maybe with Eric Mona's wonderful performance, I came up with another idea. I don't know if I can make it happen, but that's a year away. We got Gary Con next to worry about. I mean, this year, you know, but we'll crank it up for St. Jude next year. I guarantee it in 2022. So, yeah, Luke was supposed to come on, Derek, but Luke had maneuvers, so he could not. We will do Coma. We did one. I did one like that, and we'll do another one. So I had Mike Disney, I had Bill the Master Crafter, and Brian Sublime on for that. It's on Gavin. Can someone do me a favor and link that off of YouTube? It's probably I can't remember which one it is. So yeah, Luke wanted to play in it and he could not. There's, you know, and this is you're seeing right now what Rob Phantom got for top donator. He got that Torbridge Gold Kickstarter. He got placed into it. So yeah, and that's an awesome thing. What time is it? Oh my gosh, only 7:52. All right, Jay missed the wrong. Let's hit this. But we'll do another one because we got a lot of crafting stuff coming up. I got a crafting announcement shortly too. So. It's okay to start early, but then Gary Hooligan goes, I thought you were supposed to start at 8 o'clock. And he comes on, you know, it's like, oh, look at all those great emotes you can get for the cheer turtles. Gary is supposed to join us the second hour. So that's a good thing. As you can see, so we can get some people on here. No, don't call it slacking. Call it dedication by Patrick. We only have 2 people that have all but one of the. There's one emote that no one's reached yet. Thank you, Tim. That is from Saturday night. Oh, it's up to 170 views. Wow. No, that is the Luke Gygax Eric Mona video from Grailcon. I was looking for the crafting vid from Gavin, Tim. The title of this song is Treacherous Waters. Yeah, naked streamer emote. Josh will get me a 30-day ban. I don't think that's happening. What's up, Clover? Woo! This song is titled, this is Dark Fantasy Studio. This is titled Treacherous Waters. I own his entire compilation, so I got rights to it all. So I can to use it whenever I need on streams. It's great. So
That's a good song. What do you think?
it's a great, Tim, Patrick, that's a great idea. But I may have all those on another product soon too. So just note that that's coming. We got a minute 10 left, and I'll let this song run. It's coming, man. I'm working a lot of angles here. Well, yeah, Ranger already. My first stream ever is the Welcome to the Lord Gazumba channel stream. You can tell how bad it is. Just take a look. Oh, it's on YouTube. Yeah, it's Dark Fantasy Studios, yes. I know Dark Fantasy Studio. He's on Facebook. He's French. I think he's a French composer. Canadian, I haven't. That's tough to do, Canadian, because of copyrights. You can't do that stuff. You can't play it. So that's the hard thing. Good evening, everyone. Anna stepped away. We got a hidden Anna
Sorry.
Meyer. That's all right.
Sorry, I was getting my modules from the shelves there. So yeah.
We got a very hidden Anna Meyer, and we also have a wonderful Mike Bridges here. So welcome, everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well and hanging in there. As I'm still recovering from last weekend, which was just wondrous, you know.
Yeah.
So looking forward to a great discussion tonight on. And this was Gary Julian's idea, the Slave Lords, because Slavers is bad. I couldn't put that in chat. I couldn't put that up. It just would be a bad thing, you know. That would be a major problem. So yeah, he was very correct. So we called it Under the Yellow Sails, which is kind of cool. So and Tropico Thunder, thank you for the follow there. So here's an announcement, and I see him on. We're going to throw us up. We're bringing in another sponsor. Now, this will be our 7th, okay? So, but this one kind of made sense. And, because this person already does work for us, and why not leverage our streams and John the Blue Box's stream and his, and the community's ever growing. So, and you'll see it scrolling in the lower right-hand side, but Mike Disney's coming on as an actual sponsor of the Lord Gazumba channel. Just to make an announcement there for everyone. He'll work in conjunction with Bill the Master Crafter and to bring out, and we'll see some custom minis and some custom work from him and his Overlord prints from time to time, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to give any of these out tonight because I'm going to save these for Gavin, but I'm going to show you some unbelievable looks. There you go. Look at these. The new Overlord. Yeah, wow. we're gonna give out. Look for that on the Sunday night Gavin show. Okay, where we coming up. Yes. So and Mike is on somewhere on tonight. Thanks, Mike, for the tremendous offer there. But that'll help us all with Mike's got painting something for us for post Gary Con use now. And so we're looking forward to it. You'll see his logo streaming in the lower right-hand corner. So I just want to make that announcement. So, yes!
Present.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Yep.
Number 2. I'm starting this up right now. Let's get all this pre-done here. And that is the giveaways tonight. So we have 2. We had 2. And courtesy of Cannabelle Eridar, 2 $25 gift certificates. One for Wolfgang Bauer's Cobalt Press. And one for CSL Entertainment, Carlos and his wife Amanda's company. And then Amanda, about an hour ago, whispered me, "Hey, I have an idea. Would you like to?" And I downloaded that pic. Would you like to give away all 3 of these in PDF that you're going to be discussing tonight? and that is all 3 Marquessa, the Marquessa PDF bundle. So we're going to give away that as well tonight as a 3rd giveaway for everyone. So I'm setting this up right now, and hopefully,
Yeah, you don't have the complete A series until you have the Marquesses.
absolutely, Mike.
They're kind of a continuum of the
Absolutely.
original
So I'm starting.
Yep.
So we'll give away all 3 of those. And hey, what's up, Tim? That's I see. And I have them too. Obviously. Whoops, that's a Slavers.
I don't think I have all of them. I have all of them. I bought everything in PDF. I bought all of the modules in PDF, but I have some of them in.
Yes.
In
so, and we'll discuss.
Yep.
We'll discuss this a little bit tonight. Along with everything else. But it's a great way to get acquainted with CSL Entertainment. And if you haven't already, and I already linked this, but you could pick up the top pre-selling module they've ever had, Horror in the Hools. So, and that's out, and it's going out already, and the signed copies are going out, and the orders are going out. Hey, what's up there? How do you say that? Pupic. Yes. So,
yeah, Pupic Dad. Yep.
It's one of those days. So, tonight, Slavers, Slave Lords, spans a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think, Anna, when you think of Slave Lords?
I remember the time we actually played down there, and I've actually been a player in the Slavers campaign that one of my friends ran back in the day when it came out, because he kind of got the teeth into it and ran it before I was really. I started my Greyhawk gaming a little bit, but I wasn't really thoroughly into it by then, and so we ran it. So I remember we were slaves on the ships, and we went to her dame something that she has that estate on the way down, and dined and whatever, and then they came, and so I have only vague memories of the adventure itself, but we had a lot of fun. We were sitting in the basement and playing, and it was winter and cold and whatnot, so that was
Cool. How about you, Mike, on that?
Never played the originals. Then I got Slavers, ran through that whole book on my own. But interestingly, at a Gen Con a long time ago, during the Living Greyhawk era, they were running a Slave Lord. I don't know if it was a one-shot thing or whatever, but we signed up for it, me and my friends. None of us having played in the Living Greyhawk before. That's the infamous group where we went and all played bards.
Oh,
yeah, it was some kind of A1 conversion to 3rd edition rules, and we just got destroyed.
Yeah, peculiar manner. That's what the was Dave. Yeah, something. Yeah, and peculiar manner. It's on the map. Yep.
So I know this, that I like the Slave Lords A1 through 4. Way back in the day, did them. Cool. They're all tournament modules. They're all Gen Con tournaments year after year, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of feel disjointed a little bit. They do. They just get a weird feel to them, like.
Well, they all have different authors. It's like one of the original adventure paths.
Great point. So if we look at this, David Zeb Cook, A1. Okay. Great point, Mike.
Yeah.
Harold Johnson. Josh, you failed there. Just an inside joke. And Tom Mulvey.
Mulvey.
2. I got you. Alan Hammock, 3. 1. Lawrence Schick, 4. So there you go.
And then we can add the latest that came in when they did the re-release, and they had the A0 with that introduced Dark Shelf.
Yes, A0 by it's scrolling through.
Skip Williams.
Skip Williams did A0.
Was that Skip? Cool.
And that was and that one is in the scrollers, and that one Jimmy Duffy is just finishing up or finished. And then we have A5 through A7. So you have A0 through A7. Now, this is why Jimmy probably isn't going to be around, and maybe we're not going to go into a lot of details. We're going to go into campaign details.
Really, the Slavers series has a lot of legs.
Yes.
There is a 4.5, Jay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Low Down and High Port.
I
Dungeon
remembered
221?
that somewhere, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I remember that too. And then there's
Who released that under what?
This it kind of like the last Slave Lord.
Yeah, Last Slave Lord's
It was
Dungeon.
a first edition adventure
Ooh,
with 4E.
We have a surprise guest coming on.
Awesome.
Carlos!
Hello.
Hey guys, how you
Welcome.
doing tonight?
It looks like you're at
Good.
work again.
Yes,
I am
after
at work
A4.
again, so
Yeah?
I can't stay very long tonight. But being that the slave lords are kind of where I cut my teeth as a publisher, I thought it would be
Awesome.
appropriate
Yeah.
for me to show up.
Oh, yeah. And
Definitely.
thank you for the extra. Amanda gave us that extra giveaway for all 3 Marquesses in PDF. So we already had a $25 gift.
Heard.
Yeah, it's fantastic because it's exciting. And so I think the plan is Jimmy Duffy's going to run A0 all the way through to the end of A7. I think with his group. Now I told him that's going to take him 2 years.
I guess he doesn't know that there's an A8, does he?
Yeah, well, that's true. So, but you'll have to get him.
By the time you get through all of them, there might be a 9 and 10.
Yeah.
There will be at least a 9 and a 10. Yeah, there will be at least a 9 and 10 because the playtesters did not manage to defeat the antagonists of A8, who are Blackthorn and Itar.
Fail.
I got it.
Fail.
Low down in Highport is in Dungeon 221.
But that's funny because the last slaver's in the earlier dungeon than that. It's like 215, isn't it?
I don't know.
I got that backwards. I'm sorry, guys. So Last Slave Lord is 4.5.
Okay, that's 215. That's Dungeon
Low
210.
down in Highport happens between 0 and 1.
Oh,
it's a 0.5.
Well, we should let Jimmy know. I will let him know.
Yeah.
Where's that? Dungeon what?
Dungeon 221. By Thomas M. Reed.
Okay. I'll let
if
him
he
know.
wants to be truly comprehensive, there's a slave lord, actually a minor appearance of a slave lord in a dungeon magazine that I'm guessing he probably doesn't know about, which is a Jockstew appears in Shadows over Istvan.
Oh
okay.
Man, we're getting deep. We're getting deep before we even started the discussion there. So wow,
this is good.
That's crazy. Lots of stuff. So while we have Carlos, let's ask him the following, because I really appreciate you hopping on. That's fantastic.
Oh, no problem, man.
Yeah.
No problem.
So
glad that you invited me.
What was your thoughts on why you had to do the Marquesses? After I know why. I want you to say it though.
Well, originally my whole thing was I wrote the module because I wanted to run Alan Grohe through a module. I wanted to make something for him specifically, and Alan, as many of you guys know, is one of the shining lights of our community. He's very, very probably one of the most well-versed people I know in Greyhawk lore. So I wanted to make it somebody who was really, really very central to the game, kind of the feel and the vibe of the campaign, but at the same time, it wasn't somebody who was played out like some of your more common villains, I suppose. I thought about who the most evil villain I possibly could think of in Greyhawk history was, and for me, it's not Igwilif. It's Marquessa. Marquessa has a personal kind of an evil. She's the Dr. Mangala of Greyhawk. I mean, she is very.
That's an understatement.
The things that she does are so horrific and so visceral that I knew that I could. My particular writing style, I thought would dovetail well with it, and so that's why I chose Marquessa.
This is my big bone of disappointment from Gen Con 2019. I've told this story. This is one of my favorite pictures of all time. Marquessa with Devin together. And if you look real closely, you see the etching on Devin's face. You can tell she completely rebuilt his face because he got horribly scarred by a black dragon. And you can just see the evil slant in her eyes. And she's like a high elf. She's not a dark elf or anything. She's an evil, evil high elf. And I went to Wayne Reynolds' booth and I said, Wayne, I love your stuff from Slavers. I want to buy this print. I don't care how much it is.
All the interior stuff is so good.
He said they all were destroyed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Now we have Nagoya Joe to thank for the Elita Norbilis print from this that he reprinted and redid.
Yeah.
That were given away for the fundraiser. He did Elita,
Oh.
so I should have asked him to do this one. But oh my gosh, I mean, this is my. I love this, and she is just that's such a great pick. So Carl, Carl, she's vile, so
Yeah,
vile.
she's absolutely vile. I thought that I kind of the first module I kind of wanted to make it an homage, in a sense to A1, because it was going to be a convention module. I wanted to make it very simple, very straightforward. The map is super linear. It doesn't really do too many crazy things, but I do bring up. I've used a total of 4 canon slave lords in my actual printed
only 4?
stuff. Yeah, only 4. And she is. I actually used Sturm Buckholz, excuse me, in A5 as well. Some of you might remember, he's a thief who has some giant weasel companions.
Oh,
and, he's actually in that as well. And I just it's like I said, A1 is one of the most straightforward modules I'm aware of as far as its map linearity, because it was supposed to be a tournament module. And that was what I was doing with A5, and I felt like it achieved its purpose. I mean, I think it's probably now, as far as my own stuff, I would certainly approach it differently now. But it got me on the map, so I'm pleased with it. And Mike played in it. Mike Bridges played it. So.
Oh, and Mike, how did you like it?
Yeah, it's a spiritual successor to the series. It's like Marquess is cool because there's definitely a progression through the editions and then into his works of her getting more powerful and more plots and things. There's so many characters. I was looking back through the A1 through 4 series, and like she's not even one of the major slave lords.
Right, exactly.
That's the thing, is that if you put it in perspective, she's not, and she was not one of the original this picture. She's not here. She's not here in this picture. So, thank you, everyone.
That's also sort of why I've taken in my own modules. The slavers I use are not the major guys. I'm not using more drama. I'm not using Slippery Hedda.
Yeah.
I'm using people like Blackthorn and Icar and Sturm Buckholz and Marquessa, because I know that deep lore is going to appeal to the people who really love the setting, and that's who I write for. I mean, I'm writing for people who love the setting and can look at that and say, I see what you did there.
It's exciting. It's exciting that this show. You know what? I'm gonna say. Please don't think this is corny, but I think this is why Carlos and I knew we were on the same wavelength with thought process for during Cools. Is that like Marquessa? Oh my God, he did Marquessa modules. Wow, I love Marquessa. Yeah. She's so wild, and that's kind of like the connect. I was like, woohoo! Smart. I mean,
there's a lot of little things too. I've expanded on her character here and there.
What's up, Jimmy?
Trying to put my own thing in there, but I have to tell you, like for example, one of the things I did as kind of an Easter egg to myself, and Anna was kind enough to put it on her map, is that her main headquarters is at a place called Moreau Point. Well, she's known for the engineering of different, a creation of monsters and flesh shaping of creatures. So I thought, it was kind of an homage to the island of Dr. Moreau there. But
the funny thing was that you when I was part of playing the adventure, and when you read the introduction and told us the introduction, I was like looking at it like, there is a little island there already. Then it was like, that was perfect. It was like, yes, so
perfect.
I made sure to put it, everything I do, I make sure to put it on a place on the map where it is, where you can actually do something with it, Anna. Which, by the way, this has nothing to do with slave lords, but I have something for you. I have a little surprise for you. I made a new piece of heraldry for a place that isn't done, and you can add it to your site and give it to your patrons and whatever.
Awesome.
Don't share it on stream because you'll.
No, I'm not going to share it on stream. I don't even have it on my.
I was like,
that's awesome. Let me look into that. Yeah.
But I think you'll like it. I think you'll really dig it. It's a place that.
What's up, Gary? Gary, come on, man. There's a hole up here. Gary Holine's supposed to come on, so too.
I was going to say though, as far as as far as Marquessa goes and the module, her character, I've developed her. I made her a little bit more powerful, as you would imagine a mage to get. She's playing cat and mouse with the adventurers, and part of the whole conceit with the modules is she likes the fact that the adventurers are coming after her. She likes it because it's exciting to her. It's a game to her, and it also pushes her to become more powerful, to strive for different things. You know, when you're an elf like her that's lived a few hundred years, I mean,
yeah,
you need something to get the blood going, and for her that was sort of what it was. And Michael, I have to say, your part of A5 or A6 actually was one of my favorite parts of the whole play testing, when you did the knock spell on the Twisted Stare, or excuse me, on the cell that had the barbarian woman in it, and then you guys couldn't move the Twisted Stare, and the look that Jason gave you right after you did it was so great.
Yeah, well.
So there are tidbits.
No, that was great. I loved it. I mean, playtesting reveals a lot of cool stuff, and what it revealed to me is that I needed a couple mechanisms there, and they ended up in the module.
There are great tidbits all throughout the Slavers reference that, and by the way, I was so happy. You know, we had Sean Reynolds on a couple months ago, and Sean came. I tweeted about this on Twitter, and he retweeted it, and he attached Chris Promise to the tweet, and I was like, cool. So, because you know, I haven't been able to get Chris on. Right, I'm trying to get Chris. I got a reverb here. There we go. That was on me. I've been trying to get Chris on, so I'm hoping that tweet that Sean did will help us get him back. Get Chris Promise and Green Ronin on the show. But
that would be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I should say this, Jay. Something that happened with Marquess and the Slave Lords recently for me that was a huge thrill. You're talking about other creators and things. I got an order for the entire Marquessa series, and on the order slip, the email I was given was the continuing tale of Marquessa and the Slave Lords. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, that was a kind of an interesting thing. So I looked at the order. It was from a guy named Harold Johnson.
Harold Johnson himself, yeah.
And I was like, oh my God,
that's so awesome.
Because Harold wrote A2 and he designed.
He wrote Tomokan too.
What a thrill it was for me to actually have the guy who wrote who created the character by the module. I thought that was like, that was a highlight for me for sure.
We've tried, Gary. Career. We've tried to get him on the show. So, well, note this. By
the way, I can't see Chad at all. So if anybody's saying anything that
we got you. Please. Well, if you want to know,
praising you.
If we want to know one thing. They've been begging. All these people are begging. Let me say, all of our viewers are going to be have been begging that they want dual signed copies of Horror of the Hools, but I gave out the only 3 I had, and I got more. But hey, we're going to keep them rare on purpose. Everyone, you understand that. So just note that we'll see, but a lot of people want the dual signed copies.
Well, everybody knows that has received anything from me before that I go out of my way. I always include a handwritten thank you in there, and I always because it's not lost on me. You know, everybody.
Look at that. Readings from the whole marshes
and supports me. I really I appreciate it, and it's meaningful to me. So I try and make sure I convey that with what I write. So if you guys want a dual signed copy, I'm not the holdup. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
I sign everything.
Well, your wife and I had a little discussion about keeping them rare. And then maybe next year.
I know you did.
At Gary Con in person, maybe. Or if we see people at cons or we see people,
that's totally fine with me, Jim.
Yeah. So, Carlos, hang as long as you want here. So we're going to crank
it. I got a jet pretty soon. I just need to come in here and chat a little bit about Marquessa. Also, I saw Michael was on, and I don't get a chance to say hello to Michael nearly enough. He's one of my favorite people in the community, good friend of mine, and he played in everything. So it was important to me to say hello and
Yeah,
all that good
definitely.
stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Always
Hope-
awesome to have you on and talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks so
this
much.
is a great topic to
Yep.
to snag you for, and I'm so glad you're able to come on from work.
Yeah, I
know
just
it's
wish I
hard
could be
sometimes.
here a little bit longer because I've got a lot to say about the slave lords and
We
I
have to
feel
come back
and their
and do the
place
topic
and their
again.
place in the Greyhawk continuum, so to speak. Because for me, Anna mentions a lot about the Horn Society and how they're much better now in her eyes because their tendrils are everywhere. And I kind of feel like the same way about the slave lords. I
Yeah.
like the fact that they're decentralized now. I like the
Yeah.
fact that you never know where they
Assignment
are, where
cons,
they're going to pop
absolutely.
up, or and all these horrible things that they may or may not do, or what your DM believes who survived
Mhm.
the siege of Suderham and who didn't. And
Yeah.
I think that it's awesome that they can be recurring villains and they've got the power to be recurring villains, and you just never know where they're going to be.
It's good to have long-term antitheses in your campaign. I have Holly that Mike Disney painted. She
Right.
made an appearance. Remember Anna in that adventure we did a couple weeks ago?
Mhm.
And so we all have them, and that's a great tie-in for your campaign to have some thorn in the side, whether it's behind the scenes or against. It's hard to make them fight, and keep on having your baddie get away. So sometimes you want them just
Right.
pulling the strings,
Mhm.
But some of these guys naturally have. I'll give you an example. Blackthorn, I mentioned. He's the focus of A8. Him and Icon, right? They found out that Marquessa, was laid low by the player characters in A8 or A5, A7, I should say, and consequently, they knew that they had been served notice by the forces of good. The slave lords had been served notice. Their superior officer had been killed, so they decided that they would start making plans for how they would defend themselves. Well, if you look at Blackthorn is actually an ogre mage. Ogre mages have the native ability to go gaseous,
and
right?
polymorph.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
very, very difficult to kill permanently because of some of their special abilities. That's a great recurring antithesis. It's not cheesy. The player characters are going to see him pull his tricks one time, and they're going to say, "Okay, we need to be ready for this," but it's hard to cope with it. So when they end up fighting him again, and he pulls the same trick and gets away with it again because they weren't prepared, it doesn't seem like it's DM fiat that's making him keep surviving. It's because they screwed up.
Yeah. I wish I don't make my ogre magi as momentous as I should. I really should, but it's a great recurring antithesis.
Well,
Definitely.
for me, I try and remember that the ogre mage was, if you look in the monster manual, it's Japanese. It mentions it explicitly in the monster title, that it's Japanese inspired. I'm half Japanese myself, so I know a little bit about Oni. And as a result of that, I did a lot with Blackthorn in A8, where I mentioned the fact that he came to the Flyness from far to the west. He's not native to the area, and as a result, he's kind of a mysterious, weird character. And I think that I hope it conveys for people who read A8. I tried to make him way creepier than he was in A2. So.
Awesome.
Then again, I make everything a little creepier than it probably should be.
A little creepy and a little never hurt anyone.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I remember the looks on you guys' faces when you were playing A5 and you guys saw the woman in the tank that had been embedded with aspis eggs all over her body and just waiting for them to hatch out of there. They were basically slowly eating her alive.
Yeah.
Creepy stuff like I like doing stuff
Carlos
like that.
is visceral.
Yeah.
Is the word I would use.
Yeah.
Well,
Tim
too.
says, "Oh, sorry, go on."
No, for me, Marquessa has a standard she's got to live up to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be the most vile, horrible, sickening villain around here, I gotta conjure up some horrible images that are going to keep you up at night.
That actually kind of reminds me of a recent announcement that Wizards had on their new book. Do you think Marquessa would be a good candidate for Ravenloft?
No.
No?
God, no.
I think she's exactly what that realm's looking for.
I would
I don't
hesitate to
don't.
take her out of the Greyhawk continuum. I see where you're going
Yeah,
with
it
it,
would
Mike, and I
lose
could see
its.
Yeah.
Right.
where that could fit in a campaign.
Ugh.
I like her where she is, but I could
Yes.
see it. I could see
I
it.
would love to see. I see her as a banshee candidate, so to speak, a kind of an
Ooh.
awesome banshee
Oh,
when she
yeah.
gets
The
old,
final
so to
form.
speak. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I
Oh,
see
man,
that will be
Where'd you
that. I
be?
think that will be kind of the cool thing. She's instead of turning into Lich, she becomes a kind of a version of the banshee. She gets
Oh
banshee
yeah, she'll be a
powers and stuff.
spellcasting banshee that's
Yeah.
just going to be
Mhm.
so horrible
Yep,
to
that
deal with.
can wail over the neighborhood and scare you from 5 miles away. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because what she'll do too is when you guys killed her at Moreau Point, the place flooded, if you remember right. She's going to be
Mhm.
underwater where
Yeah.
sound carries, and she's just going to be just
Got
this
it.
horror that
Yeah.
kills everything within 3 miles of her with the
Awesome.
whale.
Yeah, because I think Banshee is one of these monsters that is really up for more development, so to speak. You can turn it into more like a phenomena that can happen to evil
Right.
elves and
The only thing I don't dig about banshees is I think that they should also be incorporeal.
oh yeah, exactly. They should have a kind of a shadowy and a ghost
Yeah.
form, so to speak.
Yeah, because
Definitely.
they're not in the monster manual. In
No,
first edition,
but
anyway. I can't
but
speak
that
to
is
other
just
editions.
that's like the elf or the orc entry in Monster Manual. That's just the stuff that was back in the day.
Right.
Now it needs
Mhm.
further development, and it needs to be like vampires. They should be with classes, and one should not be the same as the other,
Oh,
etc.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Mhm.
Same thing with ghosts. That are also a monster. A lot of undeads, I think, require or demands further development into so you can branch them out different. Yeah, make them
couldn't agree
unique
more.
monsters. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. By the way, in A8 as an Easter egg, some of you guys may remember that Icar had a lover in A2 that makes kind of not necessarily of her own volition, but she makes an appearance in A8 as well. So you guys will
Cool.
like that. Plus, I've got a Thrisden reference in there, so so you guys will like that.
Yeah.
I don't think A8. I think A8 has flown under the radar a little bit with our fandom. So if I sound like I'm pumping its tires a little bit, I am, because it's over 100 pages of material. It's some of the best mapping I've personally ever done.
Dang.
I think that you guys would really like it.
Yep.
So
Tim.
another save, another
Yeah.
great thing. Jose Ortiz just emailed me. I took the chance of opening it. That artwork, which is based on the original from A4. Look at that. That's
Wow.
a
That's
Jose
nice.
piece. That is nice.
That's nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you,
I dig
Jose, for
that.
sharing that. That is wonderful.
Mhm.
Just a cool piece. I'm gonna try and put it in the scroller here, too. Hopefully, once again, without crashing.
Just as
Tim-
a quick aside, because I got to jet here in just a second, but
Sure.
I'm interested to know. I'm sure you're going to hit this topic later, but I want to know, just for my own edification, who's everybody's favorite slave lord?
I'll tell you who mine is. I'll tell you, and
Okay,
you're going to be
who's your
surprised.
favorite?
Once again,
I can.
go ahead.
Colin,
You
I
guys
can
go.
only say you made
Go ahead.
made
Go
me
ahead.
like
Yeah.
it be Marquessa. Thanks to you, Carlos. Marquessa is
thanks so
the
much.
one. Yeah. I didn't know much about them, but after listening to you playing Marquessa and adventures and stuff, I realized that yes, she's someone I want to develop further and maybe go into the
she's so
Banshee angle or
sinister.
something. So in the future
She's
campaign.
so sinister. How about
Mike?
you, Michael?
Yeah, running Slavers, Marquessa was the one that kept coming up a lot, and then when you started doing it, it was like, yeah, Marquessa. The only other one that I really had any kind of investment in was Stallman Klim.
I got one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Stallman Klim is he's pretty crazy. I'm surprised nobody has mentioned Thegnarlet.
No, because Thegnarlet's kind of an
you
enigma.
might argue that Thegnarlet, as far as the Greyhawk campaign, is the most important slave lord. Right?
Yes, but Oblivion Seeker Les and I had this discussion beforehand, and he couldn't be here tonight in chat. But only Sean Reynolds pushed the Thegnarlet Turlash Mac connection. It's not pushed in A1 through 4. Really, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
no, not really.
Turash was made for post-wars.
Well, right, but then it's not discussed. It's not discussed anywhere in any of the other, like the rehab. You would think in the rehash they did Earth Dragon stuff, they would do some Thegnarlic Tarshmat connection saying, oh, he's risen or something, and there's nothing there. I mean, that's what he said in the chat. So it's like, that's a question mark. So I'm not a big, I'm okay on that. That's something that, there's certain things I just ignore. Sometimes it's there, but it's not.
You playing in Ulick of all people, I would think would have some kind of an opinion on Thegnarlet one way or another.
I'm neutral because my antithesis always has not been the slavers on that border. I don't think they're militarily care about the Principality of Ulick border at all.
Yeah, but I get the feeling that Thegnarlet isn't interested in the slavers so much anymore. I don't think he has time. I think he's more interested in running the Pumarge, right? I mean,
I have the Dark Brotherhood weaved into everything because that's the way it's been since 1980, 82 or whatever.
Right. I said, I mean, it's just kind of something
So mine
trivia than anything.
Mine is in this book, and this book is falling apart. I mean, look at this. Okay? I have a good copy, and that is Unjin.
Davis the Reaver.
I love Davis the Reaver, but I love Unjan too. You said a true slaver. Davis the Reaver is one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the guy on the cover, right? I love Davis the Reaver. I love all the Marquess colors, right? I love that idea. I love what's her name, Petra, the red-haired priestess.
I like her a lot.
Pietra, or whatever her name is. But I love Unjin, and Unjin is a fallen paladin of Mayhem.
Yeah.
Okay, who has this kleptomaniac collection fever thing going on. So he joined them just to collect items. So he's not evil. He's lawful neutral, but he has his Mayhem symbol still on his shields and armor. But
in fact, he thinks the rest of the slavers are pretty vile.
Yeah, but he doesn't care. He's like, I got to collect. I can go here. I can go. Yeah. So it's just, it's crazy to think about that. And that could be a guy you could actually maybe cure, and maybe have him turn to your side or something in the middle of a key fight. If you do maybe he's got a form of insanity. It leaves it up to you. So
I don't think Mayhem wants him anymore.
Well, it's possible. He's still got the Mayhem symbols on his armor. So that.
By the way, you want to know some interesting Mayhem trivia that I really this kind of went over my head a little bit because I adventure a lot in Perrinland. For those of you guys who know me, I do a lot with Perrinland in my home game. I was reading a little bit about the Old Kirk the other day. Did you know that Mayhem is part of the Old Kirk? Talk about a weird inclusion into druidic circles, Mayhem. Okay. I thought that was really bizarre. But
that is absolutely.
Again, is Mayhem Fland connected then, or?
Well, remember, Mayhem supposedly came from another plane that they kind of imply is a parallel Earth. So I mean, it's kind of like, what in the hell are you doing here among druidic circles? It's weird. I mean, her sponsor Paylor isn't even in the Old Kirk. It's just weird. So I don't know. I thought it was bizarre, but that's just me.
It's really interesting. I put up, here's the picture of the slave lords, another Wayne Reynolds. It's long gone, unfortunately. Yeah. And so you got the monk, you got Thegnarlet, then you got Unjin. You see the Mayhem symbol, Stallman Klim. You got Abe, the half ogre. You got Kent, the thief, and oh god, I forget the name of the mage back there with the hat on.
That half ogre, by the way, when we played Slavers, that half ogre kicked ass on my players. Oh my god, I remember that. He's cleric assassin, if I remember correctly, right?
That's right. I think so. Of Beltar.
It was pretty ugly.
Yeah, I think of Beltar actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Beltar.
Yeah,
it was pretty ugly.
So we jumped all over the place, jumped to the end here, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's great. It's great, Carlos.
Great. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what these shows are all about, having fun and everyone figuring out, like, there is an organization here. And
Greyhawk is like the biggest rabbit hole ever. I mean,
it is, isn't it?
About something. We're talking about the slave lords, and the next thing I know, I'm talking about the Old Kirk and Perrinland. It just everything is so connected, and you go down these avenues, and you really don't know exactly where you're going to end up. It's strange.
Yeah.
But it's a wondrous ride, and that's why we're all loving it so much. And we got a wondrous, an even more wondrous ride coming at the end of March for an entire 4 days of streaming.
Yeah. So before I go, which is here in like 20 seconds, I just want to let everybody know Anybody who's interested in seeing one of the particular slave lords show up in my modules, drop me an email, man, because I'm always interested in hearing who the fans want to see and who you guys are who is compelling to you and who is not. It's sort of why I asked the question just now about who everyone's favorite slave lord is. So we'll feel free to drop me a line at castlentertainment@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to mull over your thoughts on it. All right. In any case, I'll see everybody later. Have a good evening until the star break, everybody.
You too. Thank you so much for coming.
Carlos.
Troy, don't do that to yourself. See you, Carlos. Thank you so very much, and we'll be giving away your stuff tonight.
Love you guys much, and I expect the email from me tonight.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
So
before I forget it, Tim asked an awesome question that we
did
need to
ask
get
an
to.
awesome question.
Yeah, but exactly. Who buys all these slaves, or where do they go to, so to speak?
You guys worry about the minutia all the time. I don't care.
No.
I think that's an essential question. We don't need to answer it yet, but just keep it in mind so I don't forget it.
Answer.
Okay.
What, Scarlet Brotherhood?
No, the slaves are for Suderham or Kellen Lakos or whatever. That's where the roads go to.
That's true.
All the way up, and like in the module slavers, they're capturing
what do
them
they
up by
do?
divers, and they take them all.
What do? They shovel crap. I mean,
they shovel crap.
You guys always want to. Okay, you guys always want to know the little minutia of how everything works together. It's a fantasy setting.
That's why the adventure is there.
It made sense to me if they lost an entire city and basically had to rebuild the entire slave lord franchise.
Yep.
They needed slaves to build their new, home base.
Yeah. So that comes the next question before that might help for me to answer this question or find an answer. Where do they come from? What is their origins and how did they grow into becoming what they became, so to speak?
Well, it seems like they all have their own.
They're evil. They're evil. They're evil in its power.
Okay.
I mean, it's a fantasy. They're evil people that go. We can make money and power by human and demi-human and whatever slave trade. It's
then comes the obvious question: then they want to sell the slaves to someone if they want to make money out of them.
It could be the Scarlet Brotherhood.
Yeah,
partially I think it is. I mean, partially I think it is, but
there is a Scarlet Brotherhood connection with the brother Karen and
I agree there. But I just
I think the slave lords could be just Scarlet Brotherhood agents.
That's
I think it makes me more painful. It's a great conjecture, Mike, but I don't think the Earth Dragon ones have anything to do with the Scarlet Brotherhood. I think the Earth Dragon would want to eliminate them.
Yeah,
the cult is more prominent in the sequel, Slavers, right? Not in A1 through 4.
Not at all. Right, I agree.
Right.
But once again, this is a Sean Reynolds, Chris Promise take.
Yeah.
So
because this is interesting. You have the Scarlet Brotherhood roaming around in the Pomarsh. At least Gary Gygax wrote so in the Gorda books, and you have other connections popping up here and there. Then we have the whole Earth Dragon cult that is connected somehow, and it's mentioned and kind of in part of the environment, so to speak. I don't know how deep it is entrenched in the stories, and that's one of my other key questions. I would love to hear you guys take, because you know more about this than me, so to speak.
So I'm still stuck on the slave thing. I'm only half reading the chat. If all they needed was manpower to mine, let's say they're mining gold.
Yeah.
Plenty of orcs and other humanoids around.
Yeah.
Right? So clearly that's not what they're going for. They're going for skilled labor, which they don't have in the Palm.
That's a very interesting point.
It's that simple. They're building a city by importing,
by grabbing
mostly humans
labor, labor the hard way, so to speak. Yeah, the forced labor. Yeah.
That's my best educated guess.
Okay. That's and the Romans did the same thing. Right.
Now there's also a pirate component to the slave lords, right? The
huge,
and whatever that is.
Yeah.
So in those situations, you need to press gang crew. For these ships.
So let's start at the beginning here. Okay. Why don't we do that? So you have your A0 through A4 series. Now, Jimmy, if you're still on, we're not going to go into any details on this because I know you're going to be running them soon. And I don't. Yeah, Jimmy's still on. So maybe some of your players are on, but these are great. And there's a lot of twists in them and turns. But they're all tournament modules. And like I said, by different authors. And in my opinion, they seem disjointed. I know they did a rehash where they kind of linked them all in, but you could turn this into a great whole series. Absolutely, you can do that. But then you have these, and then you get to the Slavers itself, which is basically a campaign setting, right? And you know why this is beat up so bad. This is I believe one of the top 3 reference guides ever made by TSR. I don't even put WotC in that. Yes.
And you know what? It does. It feels more like a reference, like I Use the Evil or Marquess.
Oh, yeah. It's
an adventure.
An adventure, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a reference guide with some some tricks built into it. There's no module in here about going to Kellen Lakos and destroying it. It just tells you the layout of Kellen Lakos or all the towns around it. So I give absolute kudos to this. I combine this and Marklands and I Use the Evil together because they're one and the same, and the Free State of Grok box set is the 3. That's my opinion. Someone else may have different ones, but that's my opinion on the best references. What's that?
It has. Sorry, Carlos was agreeing about the Scarlet Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Slavers has great maps. It expanded on like the Palmar's Wild Coast area significantly, map-wise.
Yeah.
A lot of encounter charts, a lot of sea-based combat rules, which I think came from of ships in the sea.
Yes, it did, and it's in here. There's enough in here to get you by. There's enough in here to get you by. All different ship types are in here.
So there's a lot to, even if you don't run the Slavers setting, there's a lot in there you could borrow if you're like playing the Sea Princes, let's say.
Right.
Same material in a sense.
Yep. Absolutely. So where do you start? That's a good question. Like if you wanted to start getting into this, the easiest question, the answer to that is you got to start somewhere. I wouldn't start right in the heart of the empire of them. Now I have maps prepared, so I'm going to be switching screens.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Make sure. I should have turned okay. Time to hit some maps up and then go with some details off of these. If everyone is good with that, sound like an idea. This is the northern Wild Coast. Yeah, Jimmy, this will be good, especially if I'm glad to hear that Dwayne gave you the lowdown on Highport, which I forgot Dwayne is running at GaryCon. Everyone, Prometheus. So hop it. That's 0.5. I start, of course, at Hardby. That's where, and Hardby is detailed in the Slavers book, and you can get all sorts of references on Hardby. I love Hardby. So I start anything with my Slavers campaign out of the Hardby. Look, you see even Ghost Tower Remembrance is on this map. You run down, and you have some great things south. The first one that comes up is, if you look on this border, and we're talking about this Slavers reference, you have Narwhal written in here. Well, Narwhal's written in From the Ashes, I'm sorry. But you have Karnak, Pelgarn, Safeton, and Wyvernon all written up in this book.
There's
so many details. Like Wyvernon is look where it is. Wyvernon is right on that border, and what's so great about it, I'm going to go back and forth here. What's so great about Wyvernon, and I want to talk about that, is just as an example of a place that you can take and go, wow, I can do something there. And that is because Henrid Blerid is there. And it's one of my favorite places. This is a picture of Wyvernon, another Wayne Reynolds dealing. So
this is Slavers he's talking about.
Yeah, this is the Slavers reference. Okay, this is in the Slavers. So this guy is a high-level specialty priest of Hexter. So he's evil. And he has a cadre of evil gnomes with him. But he hates humanoids. And he's going to defend this to the last person. It's like a small village of like 130, and he enjoys painting the walls with humanoid blood all the time. So read up on this and figure out and just get some ideas. Like you got this whole and see the gnomes in the background are like in skulking around.
Well, the Wild Coast in the original box is supposed to be this mixture of all alignments and whatever, anything goes, right?
Goats were talking. Yeah, this is the book.
Yeah.
This is the book.
Yeah.
Get it in PDF. It's great. And so look right there, Sean Reynolds and Chris Promise, two legends. And have you absorbed a lot of this? I imagine you have for location placing, right? The Slaver's reference.
I read that one like a Bible when I put all the settlements and stuff. So most of the Wild Coast is from that one, and the campaign book from the Ashes and a few other sources. And then it's also one of the. It's also a like mapping area that I have received.
Gary,
for workovers that kind of introductory, because that's the area I developed very first when there was very little. I started mapping that roughly a few years, roughly when the From the Ashes came out. So that meant that I didn't have any of the other sources. They've come in afterwards. So I started doing the terrain and stuff in Bryce back in the 90s when I only had the From the Ashes and barely nothing else. And I didn't know how to do proper research and stuff like that. It was for my own campaign use. I never thought it would be something that would be used by Greyhawkers everywhere. So that after that, I had to go back again. And when Slavers and some of the other stuff came out, I had to go back and redo it again. And then I came back and redid it a third time, like 10 years ago or 7 years ago. And then I did another overview last year of it, but it's probably not finished yet. So we probably need to go back and do a fifth time before it's really set to reflect everything, because there's new things people point out to me and I find too. So that's the hard thing with this. There's material spanning over 3 decades, and there's hundreds of pages and all over. So, and some of it contradictory. So sometimes you have to weigh one against the other and stuff. So yeah. And this area in particular is tricky because it's been added to in waves. And then you have some living Greyhawk stuff that was added on the rim, so to speak. And too. So yeah.
So note this, in this book, you actually have manned slave ships in the book with the total amount of crew. They have priests and wizards on there, and it gives you the listing of these 3 slave ships, the Eternal Sun, Longspan, and Radiance. Now, note in my campaign, I have added other ones. In particular, one, very recently, if you all remember Michael Baton's Revenge sometime in where they hijacked one, killed the entire crew, and they were told by Michael to kill the slaves, but they didn't, so they leave no stone unturned and take the ship because they have a letter of marque, the adventuring group, the Hiltless Swords, and return it to Hardby, and they did all that. What happened after that was very momentous. But you can make your own slaver ships up. There's not just 3. Just note that they all fly or sail the seas with regular colored sails until they're about to raid, and then for fear they switch to the yellow sails, and that's how you know that a slave ship's coming, and that's when it's to inspire panic and fear. So you have this reference where you can actually, if you want to do something, here. So that picture up now is the Water Dragon. That's the basic ship you got in A4, right? That's it. Look at that. I mean, you can tell it's dated. So it's come a long way. There's caravels.
Main ship, right?
Yeah, that was the Slaver's main ship at the end of A4. Absolutely. So they came a long way between then and 2000, when this, I think, was printed in exactly 2000. Is that my remembrance?
Yeah, some
Slavers.
2000. Yep, exactly 2000.
Yep.
So note that you have slave ships that you can immediately utilize with crews. You also, on that first map, have one of the most, and it's up right now, I'm going to expand it. You have this wonderful, and I've used it multiple times.
Me too.
Mike, it's one of our favorite, the ruins of Cantona. Now, what is so momentous and wonderful about Cantona?
There's no magic.
Almost. Sometimes it works, but very rarely.
It's an anti-magic field or something.
Yes, there's a complete anti-magic zone in the area. So in order to get in here, You really need to have stealth, and you really need to have some brute force, and/or also there's a Malenti offshore. There's a Malenti village, which is the mutant Sahagrin. So you have them as
Love
access
Malenti.
to. Also, there's Aspis here too from the A1. You know, they have a whole Aspis colony. Now, what makes this even more wondrous, and I know Anna doesn't like this, but what do
I
they
like a
have
lot of
here,
things. So, yeah.
Mike? What does Cantona have?
Docks? Is that what you're
War
talking
machines.
about? War machines.
So
That's okay as long as it's not so much gunpowder. In there,
they have
because
they have a flamethrower machine. They have a war wagon. They have a mantlet fort, and they have throwing cauldrons. Oh, this is all right in the slavers.
Oh, but that's kind of fun. But as long as I don't try to pretend that they're general cannons and stuff.
Right.
I'm
So
good with
they
it.
have
If
they
they
yeah.
have
I don't
siege
think it's based on
machines that
black
throw
powder any of
magic
this.
fire and stuff.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, that's
So
awesome. Yeah.
they have. You're going up against some nasty firepower, and it's all humanoid based here. So
Yeah,
really a cool place to really do some nice adventuring
that
in.
sounds awesome.
Yeah. So Cantona is cool. So Mike, what did you do out of that area?
A lot of my stuff, of course, is war oriented. I had ran slavers pretty extensively to the point where the Earth Dragon cult was creeping their way, and Torishmak was creeping their way up the North Wild Coast. And I believe they got to the walls of the city of Greyhawk, probably with those same war machines, in Cantona, before they were beat back.
So they took Harvey?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
My wars are brutal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But that was one of those little side quest things that was played out. While I did wars on a wide scale, stuff like going after the Earth Dragon cult, the characters did.
Yeah.
They took that personal.
And sometimes it's great to have something personal. So you can always, and we've had this before, we've had plenty of people absconded or relatives taken by the slavers. Great way to start an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Baton himself was taken by the slavers, and they had to rescue him during one fight. But then he was assassinated. We all know that, but he wasn't assassinated by the slavers. So there you go. Just some fun tidbits. But you can always, ship combat is fun, and let me tell you something. With all the new ships that are coming out, Printable Scenery has a bunch, and Reaper has this 30-inch long caravel coming in the Kickstarter. Bones Kickstarter. I can't wait till I get it. And sometimes in April we may have it. That's right, Tim. That's right, Naz. You got it. So, ship combat, and Michael will probably verify this for me. You better set a system up and stick to it, whether it's basic or very detailed, because you can't go changing the rules on your players mid game. Ship combat's not easy, but once you set it up, we just flow it in with miniature play. What do you think on that, Mike?
I think that I have increasingly spent less time with actual ships fighting ships and just cut to the chase.
Yeah, characters on characters for the most part. Yep, I agree. But on the ships, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I agree.
It sounds like ship combat is one of the ultimate fits with miniatures. You can have like a big table with a blue thing, and then you can move the ships around, and you can kind of do maneuver, cast spells, and all sorts of cool things.
And I agree 100%. The problem is that the damage on the ship rules is very nebulous, right? And so
you have to make more detailed ones, I think, to suit miniatures, where you can have distances and sail things and stuff like that. So.
And how much damage a fireball is doing to the deck and all sorts of things. So
you have to get, but that's something you can look into. Third edition, they can have hit points and hardness and stuff like that, and certain resistance against attacks and stuff.
And you always want to take a ship intact too, because you want to get that letter of marque. You want to get that money for it. So
you don't want to sink it before you get the treasure.
Yes. Let me. So Michael Baton was assassinated. Whatever. There's Michael Baton chat going on. I'm sorry, but yes, he was assassinated in public and his head decapitated.
About kind of putting that
to rest one day. One day, absolutely. Yep. So let's go to another map here. Let's go further south. All right. Now I figured out finally how to finagle this so I can move things. Yeah, like that. Okay.
There you go.
All right, so we go further south, and look, Altamare's on the map. So you have Fax, which is Fax is interesting, whether it should be taken or not. Fax and Badwall, and I'll leave that up to you, to everyone. Whether you have it in Tarashmak or Slaver's hands or whatever. I've kind of left that nebulous too. We haven't done any adventuring in that area.
Later in the show, you guys need to tell me about Tarashmak, how he fits in the story, whatever. Yeah, just so I need to put it out there because that's something I want to hear your thoughts about before we end this show. So please continue. Sorry.
No, that's great. It's a great question.
And also, Fax seems to be the most neglected place along the coast.
I think Badwall is, Fax and Badwall both are neglected.
All the other ones have, or Elred to some degree also, but they seem to be, they're the ones mentioned a lot in the original Gary products and stuff, and he talked about them, and even those 3 diamonds on the Fax is part of Gygax's own shield and stuff, so he seems to be fond of these places back in the day, but then, since then, they've basically been neglected in every recent product or later product.
His particular attention to those places mean that he had characters come from there?
I think they were part of what he wanted, either what he played in back in the day, and we can ask Luke that maybe someday, and or either he was things he had plans for that never came to be, so to speak, at least not public in published products. I don't know. I can just guess because they are mentioned, and while Coast seems to be a place that was near and dear to his writing in the Gord books and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just my hunch that that was more to it that we never got to know.
Wild Coast is just a wonderful place because it's for free for all. Yeah, So note that most of the action in Slavers goes down near Elred. Now Elred is a slaver town now, according to the Slavers, and it is the main base of Davis the Reaver. And it does have a little bit of a map done. Here's the map. It's really not a great map, but it's a map, right? So you have a port here. You have Davis's compound. And you got the docks, and you got some really interesting.
It fits nice in that little rectangular.
Yeah, doesn't it? That's awesome.
That's the problem with RPG maps. They're all supposed to fit on an 8.5 by 11, and that makes a lot of
So
it's a lot of trade-offs.
You have some cool personalities in Elred. So there's Davis the Reaver. And then remember I talked about the red-haired priestess of the Earth Dragon, Pyera. And then you have, what's his name? Rurik the Taskmaster. Now he's a Myrmidon, so he's a specialized fighter in spear. But he's not evil. He was drinking in a bar when Elred got taken over and decided, I'm just going to hang here because I can kick everyone's ass. And so David goes, we're going to hire you to teach everyone your fighting style. So basically they take slaved kids, boys or whatever, and they teach them that fighting style there. So is she single? Yes, but here's the thing: what it says about her. It says it right in the book, and I'm gonna see. This is how I almost know these verbatim. It says she has rebuffed the advances of many males, choosing to concentrate on the Earth Dragon instead, and that's what it says right in the book. So yes, there you go, there, Patrick. That was that answer to that question. Davis the Reaver has 2 semi-artifact weapons. I know he has the Saber of Storms and a Dagger of Parrying. So he's got 2 real cool items.
I like Davis.
Yeah, I like Davis too because he's vile too. But he's very suave about his vileness. So a very cool, a very cool write-up. They did a great job with the development here. Now also, there's stuff in the books that don't have anything to do with the slavers for the most part. And that's what I really like about what they did here. It's not all about the slavers in this book. And you go out to an area outside of Elred, and there's a town called Fallowfield, where it's abandoned now, and the field fell fallow because it never was, the crops just died. And you have this gentleman out here. Now, I've used this gentleman multiple times. He keeps finding a way back. I want to show you this picture. I cry about this artwork's missing. This guy's a necromancer. Named Braxum. He's got a skeletal undead Drider with him. All right, and look,
Ooh,
yeah,
awesome.
he
Yep.
is nasty. All right, he's got an army of undead just out there. He's just building up an army because he can. There's dead bodies everywhere. So take him and he could care less about what Slaver's doing, right? He's just out doing his own thing, in that area. But then you have, besides him in this area, you have another, and the development in this book is just wonderful. You have a other group, and you have an adventuring party out here you could run into. All right? And you have this adventuring party. Now, what's cool about this is, look, I want you to look at this picture, and all the little people behind. Wayne Reynolds put every person in this adventuring party in this picture.
Amazing.
The entire party is in this picture. Now, the left, the female, is Fina Finkella, and she is a specialty priestess of Kellenin. And the dwarf that you see with the staff right below her, that is a Tanasoff, a priest of Merlin. So this book is great because you have in it documented, written up, specialty priests of Kellenin and Merlin in the back appendix. So if you're a person that wants to develop up written specialty priests that are written for Greyhawk, you have two resources. You have this book and you have Bastion of Faith. So now you can get Merlin, Kellenin, Hieronius, and Hexter all done and develop the spell list off them. So something really neat in this area, and and you notice what's over the elf's head. What do you think that is? The elf female on the far right. What's over her head?
I can't really see what that is.
All right.
Hold a second. Need to.
What do you think that is? Yes, goats. It's an ironstone. They even put the detail of the items of an ironstone in the picture. Yes,
Awesome.
and the weapons are correct and everything. It's just a fantastic, fantastic group. So this group is out there trying to figure out how to deal with, and they live in Fallowfield kind of secretly, and they're trying to figure out how to screw around with Davis the Reaver. Kellenin's neutral, and the balance has been shifted too far, and Merlin is usually lawful good with lawful neutral, in that realm. So that group is out there actually trying to thwart the slavers out of Elred. So you can make a development where your group maybe is lower level and meets up with them, and they send them on missions, or you work with them. It's a really cool idea. And I know we've had groups meet up with them out there in that area. So here comes Pluffet Smedger.
Yay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So. Oh, Gary, what's going on?
Let's see here.
He's connecting the audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know they were straight from Dying Earth, but it's a good ripoff, though, isn't it, Pupic? It's good. So,
Hello.
like I said, guys and gals, I'm looking back and forth at chat, so please ask questions if you so choose or want to. This raises a question: can an ironstone be seen when circling? So, that's a great question, Lex, George. By the way, and George's item, his donation of his tower, was gladly taken by someone, and George is shipping it to them. So that went too. At the end of the show, I'll tell you, for those who haven't picked yet or in the list to pick, I will tell you what's left at the end of the show. So beautiful, thank you. It's a great question. I don't have ironstones as spinning. I have them as on person somewhere because I just don't want that to be a distraction. So, hey Gary, what's up?
Hey guys,
Nice.
good discussion so far.
Yeah, it was
Yellow
nice to see
sails.
Carlos in. We went right to the end at the beginning, but that's okay. So have you do anything to input during the early parts here of us running down the Wild Coast?
No, I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Although you guys didn't mention Dame Gold.
Well, yeah, I got to almost. I mentioned when I played the adventure back in the day, we went to the Peculiar Manor and Dame. I forgot her name, Gold. Yeah, that was good. At the Peculiar Manor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Then what's that in, Gary?
A1 through 4, I think. I think they tack that on as another launching point so that
Yeah,
the
it's one of
PCs
these early pieces, stages, or scenes of the adventure. One of
Right.
the first ones, I think.
I have to say, one of the things that PCs really hated about this module series is the fact that they might become slaves and get stripped of all their stuff.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that just
Oh.
really chaps PCs. They do not like that.
So true. Absolutely so true.
So when I originally ran it, we didn't do that. What we did was we had friends of theirs get captured as slaves,
Smart.
and so they were in a chase mode.
I think that much more. I hate it when it's just part of the story, and no matter what, the DM just say, now you just captured and all the things taken away from you, and meaning, come on, you need to try and play it out. So yeah.
Rich had to chime in there. He was on the treadmill, and then he's like, "I gotta talk. Nice comment. Yeah.
Yep.
I tend to agree, Rich, just because I don't want them. If there's a couple agents in the Bone Soviet, I just don't want them on my side of the map. So, but that's okay. To each his own
Yep.
on that. But it's a good point. So,
Did you guys note the fact that it appears that they changed the roster between some of the early modules and the super mod?
they did, absolutely.
Or they
Okay.
renamed some people and then they changed the roster a bit. I wonder what was the reason for that.
The roster die in the earthquake?
No. I mean, it was almost like a reboot.
Mm.
So
The same adventure was rewritten.
So
and
when
re-edited?
A1, A2, A3, A4 were separate, I guess you had a few different characters, and then when they compiled them, they renamed
see.
some of them.
So, they
Klim,
they
Stallman
addressed that.
Klim had a different name, for instance.
So I'm
And
gonna
because they were not. Oh, sorry.
no. Go ahead, Anna.
I would say, was that because they were not compatible originally? They were written
Well-
as separate adventures, never thought to be. And then when they merged them into one, they had to kind of
No,
make it into a story, and that way it changed things.
I
Is that
have-
the reason you think?
I
I
have from
think they use
Les.
them into each other.
Les gave me a gem. Oblivion.
Okay.
You ready? This is from The Last Slave Lord by Christopher Perkins addressing this.
Oh,
Dragon hasn't published an AD&D adventure since issue 81, so we're talking about 182E. It says, there was one slave lord who appeared both in Module A3 and in Module A4, though his name changed without explanation. In Module A3, the villain was an evil clerk named Stallman Klim. In Module A4, his name changed to Mordramo. With a little help from Alan Hammock and Lawrence Schick, the original writers of those two adventures, Rob Schwab has addressed the gaffe, so it's a gaffe, okay, while simultaneously delivering what we hope is a classic AD&D adventure experience. If you'd rather play The Last Slave Lord as standalone 4th edition adventure, oh my god, no problem. So they provided the 4th edition statistics from the various monsters and NPCs. So he admits it's a gif. It's a mess up.
okay. Yep.
Okay.
Because they also renamed Feetla into Ian Wolf.
Okay.
So, and that was the leader of the slave lords. So I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning for all this was. I'm wondering if the names were either jokey or inappropriate, and they went with something else.
It's very possible, and they don't want to show their dirty
I
laundry.
assumed it was they were assuming the slave lords were mostly killed off, and then when Slavers was a direct sequel that was set 10, 15 years later, they just Stallman Klim put together a new group of slave lords.
It doesn't appear that. I mean, it appears like the Dark Elf's definitely killed off. She doesn't appear in the Slavers at all. None, right? She's not drilled, or she's not anywhere to be found.
Because if you play the original, let's say, and you kill Mordramo, and then Stallman Klim comes along, no harm, no foul. Two different guys.
Yeah, but he's Stallman Klim in the original A4.
Yeah, okay. So Stallman has to live in the first one. Then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
That's why
necessarily.
Marquess is good.
So apparently his name
Clones.
was Mordramo.
Yep.
And he was still the head priest of the cult of the Earth Dragon. But that looks like an anagram. So I wonder what it,
Yeah, that's milk. It could be. Who knows, man? Mike, I mean, there's all sorts of secret innuendos we'll never know about, right? In this whole thing. But what's cool about it is that this stands the test. I think the whole thing stands the test of time. I mean, I can't put the A1 through 4 is not on my wall of fame because I don't find any of them on their own like wondrous. You know what I'm saying? But but I don't have reference books on that. It's all modules. So if I had a reference book, this would be on there in a second, you know. But that's just my opinion on it. Is that they're good in their own right, but I still think there's a little bit of a disjointed nature to them. So, but you know, to each his own.
Yeah, and let Regoat ask a good question. Can I run Greyhawk using 5e?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Sure. Absolutely.
And
There's
there
a
are
lot
even
of 5 years.
some conversions.
Yeah.
Greyhawk Rognard, he did some. Yeah, so you can find some good conversion documents where you can find a lot of Greyhawk rules and
Yeah, Jimmy's doing it
cleric
too.
and gods
I
and stuff
ran
like that.
Ghost Tower of Inverness and White Plume Mountain straight from the original 1E modules and just referenced the 5e books.
Yeah.
Almost nothing was missed.
Yeah.
In translation.
That's something we maybe should do an episode about various different game systems to run using Greyhawk or something like that.
It's
good. In a future show, because there's some we can talk about, and various examples and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, Gary knows that I probably shouldn't have, but I did, and I paid for it, right, Gary? Yesterday when I asked for ideas, and I got a lot. So I got a list of 5 that have made the cut.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. What mountains is one we've never done. Mountain ranges, you know. So I got a whole.
Good idea too.
I got a whole list of them, and some of them were really good. So all right, let's go back to the maps and let's look at let's go down the Wild Coast. Now this one I think is Wild Coast and Northern. This takes up and I just got to make the flip up here. Hopefully this keeps on working. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So we see part of my area, the Pomar, Principality Ulick there, the White Tower. All right.
Sus area.
So the Sus area, there's the Hidden Temple of Rithmal that Anna and I placed. I ran out my campaign out of Vortex number 8. I think Gary still owe that for the map, correct? Is that?
We got it, I think,
It's on?
and we were still debating whether the location was a good one.
Oh, you guys are. Oh man.
I'm blaming Rich. He seems to think it might be better down in the Dreadwood, but we'll.
So wait a minute, Rich. So I'm the only one that's run this in my campaign, and we'll have that discussion again at another time.
You discovered it. You placed it. He's busting your balls.
Yeah, I hope so. I certainly hope so. And place it right in the campaign setting. All right. So you have Highport here. Highport is the epicenter for a lot, and A1, is in Highport, and you have this Slaver's Stockade. You can see it right on the map. What's that, A2? Right?
The infamous A2, yeah.
Yeah, is there, and you have a lot of really cool locations. Look, the Tower of the Heavens is on here as well. That's supposed to be isn't that a? Oh God, Scarlet Brotherhood location supposedly.
Is that the keep?
No, that other keep is further south, and it may appear on the next map.
What that is?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff I put on the map. Oh, there's the tower. Okay.
The intro to Hidden Temple does not fit in the SUS. I know. Well, it may not, Rich, but it fit in my campaign in the SUS. So there you go. So.
I'm not sure.
And Anna trumps you.
What the Tower of the Heavens really are.
Okay, I think it's in Living
probably
Greyhawk.
15 years ago since I put it on the map, so
Yeah.
I forgot about it. Yeah.
Highport is here, along with one of my locations with the Shield Lord Page estate. You're all going to find out about Lord Page and his estate during the joust during Gary Con, by the way.
Yeah.
So you'll find a little bit more. Oh yeah, you will find out a little bit more about the wonderful Lord Page. But if we go off of this, and I intentionally, the last area I kept off of this map to go down and get as much of the Pomars as I could in the last map I have here. So, it is, but then again, come on, Rich. If it wasn't for, you gave me one bone, so you guys can make the decision. It does not belong in the Dreadwood, so. You have some really cool areas here. Highport's map is very, very, I would say, not done there.
Yeah, Highport is one of these areas that screams for further development, just like Stoink is another one that just
that could be
screams to be developed.
That's the
That
kind
is-
of map I would like scribble out on a blank piece of paper for my friends and pass it over to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of looks like one of those old maps of a butcher on where the cuts of meat are.
Oh, yeah, that's very pretty.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
very,
does.
very
But
true.
it does
Yep.
not look like a super rich city founded by Seoul in order to share their treasures with the world.
Yeah,
No, not really. So that's the origin of Highport. Good.
That's
Yep.
better than the divers map, isn't it?
It's
Well,
about on
it's-
par with the Divers
On
map.
Yeah, I
par,
think
actually.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick.
Although it may look like a city that was sacked by humanoids.
Hmm.
Yeah, they lived in it for decades.
But it really
so,
wasn't
yeah.
sacked, really,
was more
right?
like
Because there was
taken
enough evil
over and
humans to
lived
stop
in-
them from
yeah.
sacking. That's the way I got it on this, or I could be wrong. Because look, there's buildings with orcs, human districts. There's a lot of human districts in this, and other humanoid districts. So it's kind of a bizarre place that it functions.
Well, sackings in history are all relative. And,
That's true.
I
Yes,
don't think the
once-
Huns killed
Hey, Fellowship. good to see you.
the entire population of Rome when they took over, but
That's
When
true.
you sack a city, do you stay there or do you get out?
you typically stay there long enough to plunder it. That's for sure.
That's what I mean. And then you get
Yeah.
out, right? You don't.
But
live
they
there.
seem
Thank
to
you,
have taken
thank you,
over
Mike.
and live in it. It's become their
Yeah,
city. They
yeah.
kind of yeah.
So
Hmm.
this is a great place. This is actually in Highport, the House of Quiet, and you can see it's run by a mind flayer. What a fun thing to have!
Oh,
All right, so he doesn't like a lot of loudness, a lot of talking, and eat and be quiet. And
I want to know that in Mind Flayer's backstory.
Excuse me.
I said I want to know
Yeah,
why that Mind Flayer is there.
It needs to be really developed.
That's just from Slavers, right? That wasn't in the original.
That's Slavers, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you got something cool there. Also, now I intentionally skipped something till we got to this point. Now, can anyone tell me how many documented Marquessa doubles there are, not counting herself, in the Slavers reference?
A lot.
I don't know.
Jimmy is correct. 4. Wow.
Okay.
That's awesome, Jimmy. Wow. I am impressed. So there are 4.
Some people are saying 5.
Starting with, there's no picture of her, unfortunately. The Slavers Cove up near Divers in the Near Deve is the first one, and that's the first sighting, and that is Marquessa the Red, the first copy. Okay, so she is not no picture of her, unfortunately. The second documented Marquessa double, and you can have a lot of fun with these, everyone, is Marquessa the Black. Marquessa the Black is in the ruined tower that's very near to Hardby, and there she is. Marquessa the Black is cool because she is. Whoops. Did Mike say I had to go somewhere?
I don't know.
That she is an elf, and she became, during all her experiments that Marquessa did, her skin became mottled. So Marquessa said, "Oh, the hell with it," and just tattooed her whole body black. So that's why she's black. So yeah, but Marquessa is really. Oh, Jimmy, you're gonna have a blast of all this. Okay. Mike may have to use the restroom or something, or
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
all right. So Marquessa
Enslaved.
Marquessa is the black's the next one, and Marquessa, they're all as evil as her. Well, most of them are. Now, in Highport, we get the third Marquessa. I love this one too, and that's Marquessa the Gold. So she basically runs Highport, and she likes to put gold war paint on her face. Now, she's the closest looking of all the Marquessa doubles, and she's the highest level of all the doubles as well.
So they're doubles, or do we know how they connect?
No, they're
Are
actual individuals that she has mind twisted and done.
They're not clones.
They're not clones, and experimented
okay.
on to make them look like herself. Yeah, that's how vile Marquessa is. So these 3 are all evil doubles: the red, the black, and the gold. Okay, there's one other. Now this one plays a very vital part in my campaign, and there's no picture, but there is a little blurb on her. The missing Marquessa, and that's Marquessa the Green. So Marquessa the Green has a great story. She created another duplicate of herself, a Sylvanelf named Miquelon, and sent her out into the world, and then she disappears. And divination spells that aren't been able to find her. It's possible she regained her original memories and spying upon the slavers. So what I have Marquess of the Green doing is, and if you've watched my streams, you've seen her appear. Alan has a character who's a ranger who has this attunement to her, and whenever they're between a certain area, whenever between Cantona in the and then north up to Pelgarn, and that in Sandy Shores area, she can actually basically almost summon her to them. And so Marquess of the Green will just show up and start talking to the party right in the middle of a fight. Oh, hi. Kind of like oblivious to everything. So and she wears a green cloak of Elvenkind. That's why she's Marquess of the Green. Yeah. So, and she's apparently good aligned now and all, but you can make her up any way you want. So, yeah, she's single. Her and Alan's and he's dual class. Of course, Alan dual class is all his humans. Ranger, mage, character kind of maybe they have a thing going, maybe they don't. But there you go. So you have Marquess. So those are the 4 Marquesses you have.
I don't know if Carlos covered this earlier, but how old is Marquessa? Do we know?
He wouldn't say, but he elaborates hundreds upon hundreds, not 1,000, but hundreds upon hundreds.
So she might actually be a player in the Hateful Wars.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh.
There's no doubt about it, Gary. There's no doubt about it. And probably it's just like, And then came here and goes, ooh, yeah.
Can you say war criminal?
I have no doubt about it.
War criminal.
In fact, we should get with Tommy John Kelly and really work that up.
Oh, yes.
We really should. That's a great idea, Gary. That's a stupendous idea.
Duh.
Absolutely. And there's his blog. I'll send him a message.
That brings the Mangala illusion full circle.
Yeah, a wondrous idea, because elves. It's only
they were major players. They were major players huge. In the wars.
Yeah,
it's actually probably a little strange to have all these humanoids being commanded by what appears to be a normal elf, and not a dark elf. So her reputation must be that bad that they actually respect her.
Yeah, but she doesn't really have any say over the army. She does her own thing now in the Slavers reference. She leaves that to Stalman Klim and all the others.
Oh no, but she's obviously untouchable.
Yeah, and she also is very, very depraved when it comes to screwing around, and it states it right in the Slavers. She's all over the place with all of them. So note that she has no morals whatsoever. It's a pretty interesting character overall. It really is a vile character. So and her bodyguards is a cool thing too. And like I said, when Carlos was on, this is one of my favorite artwork of all time. That picture, and I wish I would pay anything to get the original. So just a wonder. So Brian, if you could do that up for me, let me know, man. I would love that. I would love that in a print. Love that picture, and it's from the same reference as Elita. So, who we didn't even talk about tonight yet. So we haven't even gotten to the Pomars. So Gary, what's your commentary, or Anna and Mike commentary on the all open Wild Coast area when it relates to slavers, the slave trade? Thoughts. So
it ties it, because the original A1 through 4 starts out in Highport and then goes inland, right? So I guess what's cool about Slavers is it ties it back into the Greyhawk domain area. It really expanded and widens the setting, I think. Yeah,
but then does that make sense? I mean, I guess it's only possible because of this Orcish empire.
Yeah, it's a totally different.
I mean, I like to keep the Wild Coast wild, so
yep. As
agree.
Much as possible, I don't want it to be dominated by any one power. I didn't like it when they were pushing Greyhawk down there.
Yeah.
It just safed in, and
it becomes north and south at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. I like these loose confederation of independent city-states that all have their different character, and maybe Elred has fallen to the slave lords, but it's still kind of a secret. It's not like an open thing.
Gary, I tend to agree that you want to be able to go in and out and adventure, and you don't want to be oppressed like Ayu's areas. I agree on that. You really want to have some free flow movement through there. So,
I read something that just today, mind you, that the A series is meant to be run after the Temple of Elemental Evil series.
That's
Yeah.
conjecture, though, isn't it?
I think it was they came out afterwards, and then the
No.
Vault of the Draw was supposed to be.
No, the series came out way before Temple. Temple,
You know-
remember, was delayed for years.
I think that's a
Yeah.
retcon.
Yeah, it's a
retcon
retcon.
later,
Well,
and
yeah,
I
it's
don't
because when they-
think Gygax intended that.
No.
for sure.
No, I
Okay.
think it's because they wrapped it up into an adventure path and sold it in one book after the Temple. So that's when that's why it was kind of.
But
perceived
you're
to be-
right. You're right that they did lay hooks, like teeny little hooks between the three super mods.
Yeah,
They did. They did.
they
And
were marketed that way because they were
once
bundled
again,
together
So
that way.
Edralv in the Slave Lords apparently has a connection to the Vault of the Drow.
yeah. Yeah, well, it says right in there that she lost an overtaking, right? And she had to flee a Real High Sinlu. It says it right in A4
Mhm.
that was her deal. She had to flee from a Real High
Yeah,
Sinlu,
yeah.
which is a great connection. But I don't mean this. Well, I do. Slavers has original content. I hate lazy
Mm-hmm.
connections just for
Go
the
for
sake
it.
of making it. Oh, you can do this from start to finish in Adventure Path.
It's just
Like, I'm not
a
saying,
cheap
you know,
way of selling.
it's a
more
way of selling
products.
stuff.
Yeah. Mhm.
Don't.
I mean,
yeah, you can't
so
do
in the-
temp. Yeah, go ahead.
So in the 90s, we all kind of ripped Roger Moore and Sean Reynolds because Theg Narlot equals, Turish Mac was such a
Yeah.
terribly reductionist idea. You're basically killing two
I-
individual NPCs that were cool in and of themselves and collapsing them into one.
Okay,
So-
please.
It's one of the
develop
things that I don't like. It's the one thing I don't like about the Slavers. Really, the one main thing, and that is let's do the final map, and then we'll do conjecturing and all
Okay.
that. Let's get to the final map that we want to show, and that is the Greater Pomarge area. All right, and that'll get us to the Slaver base. All right, so let's get to this, and then we'll really go at it with conjecture. Okay. So on this map, you have Kellen
Look how great-
Lakos, Mount Suderham, Draken Keep. You also have Blue. You also have Stoneheim, which is a major city. But Kellen Lakos is the middle of nowhere for the most part. Fit in right in those mountains so that it's out of the way. There's the Strandhelm Keep on the far left. That is the one in the Gord books. And the Watchers Towers, they're Knight of Ulic enclaves, as we know from their outposts that are pushed into the Pomarge. Are all constantly being fought over. So there you have your entire map and a lot of great content on here. All the Anna's placed all the tribes everywhere, which is wonderful. And but you really have your really neat stuff here. And this is where all the end of the base is. I think I have a picture of Kellen Lakos here. Here we go. Here's the all right. So I got to flip back. So there you go. That's your final map of what we're discussing tonight. And here we go. Here's Kellen Lakos. Okay, there you go. Built into the side. Pretty neat.
That Wayne Reynolds, I tell you, for his black and white art is so crisp.
Oh, I know.
It's crazy. Could you imagine? That's interior art, and then when he started doing full color art, could you imagine that stuff full color? Jeez.
Yeah.
I just think it's just so awesome. Like I said, it saddened me when I was talking to him about that. Absolutely. You have your slaver leaders here. You also have a very unique creature. Now, I don't know if they retconned that back in here, and we showed these. Here's the slavers leaders, right? But you also have what's called the Dragonel here.
Dragonels.
Dragonels aren't fire breathing, but they appear. I don't know if they appear before. Gary, Mike, Anna, do you know of any notation where Dragonels appear before here?
I had a Dragonel action figure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where they came from.
Okay,
Yeah.
they are looking like little mini red
Oh,
dragons.
MM2. Okay.
They're mounts. They're in Monster Manual 2. Okay, so that's where they come
Or
from.
is that
They're in Monster
Dragon?
Manual 2, which predates the
Dragon?
Slaver's book. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
there, Rich.
Yep.
That's where they. All right, but there's no picture of them in the Monster Manual 2. So Dragonels are in here, and they're the flying mounts of a lot of the elite troops that the Slavers have. And then the Temple of the Earth Dragon main temple is here. So
I need to step away for a minute.
no problem. And that's where you get with the question on your slaver leaders. Like I said, I love that Unjan figure. I just love fallen figures. It's crazy.
Unjan, I just come across something that I read about Unjan. He it says here that he has rebuffed the advances of Marquess.
Yes, he has, because he will only go so far.
Oh man.
Yes, Marquess is trying to hook up with him. He's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, too evil.
He's still got
Great
it.
point, Mike.
Yeah, he could be redeemed.
No, someone's going to end up on the table cut up. Is what's going to happen.
Oh, it's so awesome. It's so great.
You either give your heart willingly or you give it in pieces.
Mongrel men come out of this area too, because Marquess's failed experiments. She just go survive on your own. There's mongrel men roaming all around out there, and they have a community.
I mean, isn't that awesome to have an explanation for mongrel men built in? Yeah. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah. So, Gary, I don't know if you heard earlier, but I did a Twitter post on this, and Sean Reynolds saw it, retweeted it, and connected Chris Promise on it. So I got a connection now. If I can get,
cool.
Yeah. So it was very nicely put what he said in it too. So, all right.
Speaking to your wider Palmar's map, another nice thing about the Slavers meta plot aside is that I like how it incorporated Joe Block's Palmar's information.
Absolutely.
So now you got slave lords, and you got the see the Palmars and die with all the humanoid tribes. It's got everything you need in a source book.
Yeah, although I do think there's one legend that seems to be colliding with each other. The concept of, I mean, the Dragon's Grab means the Dragon's Tomb, right? Which makes sense when you think of the cult of the Earth Dragon.
Yep.
And the earthquakes and everything the phenomenon that we experience in the adventure. But then Joe Block places this hero deity in there called Crovis as the sleeping thing that may wake up. So it seems like those two legends are in conflict.
I think we asked Joe that question when he was on, and when we did the Pomars one, and he said he doesn't like Dirt Dragon. I think that was what he just said. I just don't like it, and I'm going a different direction on it. And that's me, and it doesn't, use whatever you want.
You say that there are two names for the same thing?
Yeah. No, I think he specifically said he didn't like Dirt Dragon. Yeah, if I recall correctly. You can check. It's a Pomar's Gabbin that we did back, and Joe was a special guest on that one.
Well, that just makes it difficult to canonize both concepts.
It does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks.
There's plenty of room for both.
So, Rich, I'm correct about two things tonight: that and where the Hidden Temple original is supposed to be put. Just kidding, Rich. It's the Beastmen Forest is up in the Vespi. It's not the Mongrelmen.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it what you want is exactly correct. All right, let me see if I got any other links here. I got the last slave word, but I'll save that. You have Jose once again. I want to show this again because Jose Ortiz just emailed this to me and whispered me. What a fantastic drawing of the original slavers. That is just so wonderful. It's nice and yeah. I love Adrelv in this. I really do. I love that look.
I might actually like that one more.
Yeah. So, well, hey, all everyone has to do is Jay or Jose, if you're listening still, link your site, please. I may have it on show.
If he's done it, you can't.
Yeah.
You have to like it.
I
have.
And Casey, if he doesn't,
awesome.
please link his art site. All right.
Yeah.
Let's give Jose a nice shout out. He does commission work for, and he the Mayhem picture of Eric Menge's character in my campaign. He did that one. He's done some really great work. Beautiful stuff. So, oh man. All right. Here we didn't show. Yeah, he did. Yeah, your wife goes to Salt Marsh Druid. We didn't show this picture either. This is the Valenti. This is what mutant Sahagwin kind of look like. But they are not innately evil. They're kind of like Lakatha, where you can probably negotiate with them, because they're always looking for protection against the Sahagwin, because the Sahagwin will kill them on sight. So that is, and they're outside of Cantona. So you got some really cool connections there. If you want undersea venturing, there you go. You got that right there. which is neat. Connections to other cities. There's a big one, and I played this up for years, and we all know who I'm talking about. One of my other favorite vile characters of all time, in a much more subtle way, and that is Elita Norbilis. Now, this is another this post. This is Brian did a bunch of these, so I started giving these out as gifts. We're down to that level now, and he has a lot of prints of Elita. I'm keeping one of them myself, sorry, but she's one of my favorites. She's a judge. She's the granddaughter of the head despotrix now of Harby and in line for succession, and she hates Greyhawk. So what does she do as a typical evil idiot? Oh, I'm going to align with the slavers, and I'm going to use them against Greyhawk.
See, Jay, you asked me how did the slave lords take over Harby. I think it was her.
Oh, in your game, yeah. She just infiltrated in, yeah. So, I have her younger sister, and everyone knows I love Legend of the Seeker, and I have Kellen Norbilis, and she's cat neutral, and she worships the Storm Lord, which is ripped off from Talos. Kellen wants to kill her older sister because she hates her, and put a tidal wave and cleanse Harby like Noah did the Great Flood, thinking it's irredeemable. Kind of, I guess, what's his name? Ra's al Ghul-ish. One day, and that's the whole point. Thinking that there's a lot of vile elements in Harby. So if you want connection, I do like the naughty ladies. I'm sorry, Patrick, I do. But there's a connection, and I will. If anyone does Harby adventuring, I will share whatever I've done with you for your Harby campaign because I'm so proud of it. Because I've killed a lot of people in Harby. So and a lot
of bodies floating.
A lot of bodies and a lot of ships. Greatest place on Earth in this area if you want to do small scale privateering, pirating. Mike's Sea Princes, you could do the same thing, but it's kind of on fleet scale, right, Mike? You got a lot of fleets around, but this scale, you can, if you're smart enough, you can get a letter of marque with Harby and go out and have at it. So, plus the Ghost Tower of Inverness is nearby. You can do that adventure too. So, Gary, your thoughts on the whole area of the Woolly Bay, and Anna too. Anna placed an island that Zagig used to hang out at for me too in that area, which is cool.
Yeah.
Miraculous Isle. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What do you think, Gary? Any thoughts on the Woolly Bay?
Well, with the subject of the piracy and the slavery, it does seem like they have a plan, which is to raid the north and steal these expert slaves and take them south. But at the same time, and this comes from some conversations I've had with some other guys, it does almost seem like they're provoking the good nations nearby just to see what they can get away with. And it's the same enemies, or maybe the same enemies they had during the Hateful Wars, except a little more out in the open. And I know you don't like this part, Jay, but the Scarlet Brotherhood is there. They are there. They're behind the scenes. They're not overt. We have a brother and an assistant brother, discipled in the slave lords. Yeah, it looks like
Brother Karen. Yeah,
Miller Joy and Karen.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind an agent or two being around. I don't want the organization all over the place, which is what I think that's what Mike agrees with me in his Sea Princes. Agents of subterfuge are fine because that's part of the game, but not the.
Well, I think they are
there.
Yeah. They're in the puppet master role right here. There are only a couple of them, and they're manipulating events to their liking. And it does seem like maybe some of these slaves might end up in Crow Turlet.
Okay. Depending,
on their background and their skills and abilities.
Apparently, the mage in Slavers, Nadanru, is from the Lordship of the Isles, which would put him in the Scarlet Brotherhood category.
They're probably a Soul.
Which are like that. It's a good thing that there is that influence. Really, I said I have no problem with it. I think it's sergeantism. He went too far in a lot of places.
No, but I love my big politics. You know, I love to play big politics with it. And to
Mhm.
me, it's very interesting. I see Pomarsh is, and the Wild Coast to me is like a failed state. And the Pomarsh and the Wild Coast, it's very much a centrally located failed state. And I think that's why the the Scarlet Brotherhood can't resist going there and pouring in resources and to make sure that it stays a failed state that is a sore thumb in the eye of all the good, well-organized, strong states who could either become an enemy to them on their home turf, so to speak. It's much more cheaper to fund local proxy wars close to your enemies, so to speak. That's the tactics used all over the world. So it's kind of an established way of dealing with it. So I see this as part of the Scarlet Brotherhood's big politics. They're kind of they're not that strong in themselves, but this is something they're good at, so to speak. So they get information and a few resources from there, but they also give a lot of resources, make sure that the slavers and the humanoids and that chaos can persist, so to speak, and stuff in that area. So I don't think they have any ambitions to organize it and rule it under there. They probably like to have it as chaotic and simply a mess, so to speak, to go with. And for one thing, to me, it's kind of interesting because if you're Greyhawk or Hardby or any of the good aligned nations up north that wants to trade south through the Woolly Bay, there is no safe harbor until you get to Nessermouth from Hardby. So you have to sail for days across oceans that or seas that can be very hostile and so for me, I'm having it that Greyhawk and some of the other nations up there, what they are really keen on is to find a place to build a bridgehead and a safe harbor somewhere between Hardby and Nessermouth somehow. And that way to have a stopover half the way, so to speak. And they are eyeing Fax as one of the place to be that place halfway through, but they're not strong enough to do it themselves. But they are eyeing Celine as the partner, and if they can get the elves as to partner in on this, then to cut the wild coast in two, a northern and a southern part. And I'm not really sure how I want to play it out, but that's something I would love to put my teeth into in a future campaign.
I don't.
Something about
It's a cool idea, but does Greyhawk have military resources to do that?
no, but they have money. They have huge, lots of money. They are like Athens back in. They are like a rich city-state with huge interest, and they are dependent on trade. So even if they don't have the manpower, that's something you can hire if need be.
Yeah. But rich city
And they're not.
states, rich
Yeah.
city states that always try. I shouldn't relay real life, but I'm doing it. Rich city states that always try to expand always failed because they're a city state.
Yeah, but Greyhawk now is just look at the land area,
They're
the
run by
population-wise, they rival many big or mid-sized powers, definitely. Meaning
Okay.
they have now several cities and an area that rivals several of the other ones, almost as big as one of the Ernsts in both land area and population-wise. So they're not a midget, so to speak. They're not one of the biggest powers, but they're definitely an aspiring power, and they're also in a very central strategic location, and they're more dependent on trade than a lot of the other ones. So it is in their interest to play good with the neighbors and to expand not so much their own kind of footprint geographically, but especially power-wise and when it comes to influence. And they want their trade routes. And so they're kind of interested in it. And Niron is another power that they kind of both rivals, but they also would love to have easier trade up and down the Woolly Bay.
Well, I imagine they all would, and most of them stay to the east coast of them, which is much more treacherous, and go along the Bright Desert outward because they can't, because of the western side. I don't think there's much Keelland Ulick fleet trade with Greyhawk because of that. I think that they stay to
No.
the Asia, and I think that,
Exactly. That's
you
what
know,
they want to open up. And to me, Scant and Blue are the key ports that Scarlet Brotherhood holds dear and pays a huge price to hold on to both of them. And Blue, they have to pay the bribe the humanoids to not take over the city, so to speak. So they basically have to bribe all the ones surrounding humanoids in order to have peace and quiet in Blue, so they can use Blue as a port for their naval blockade and stuff. And Scant, they have the opposite problem, that they can't bribe the neighbors in Onval, but they have to fight them. And they have to have huge resources, manpower in Scant, because in my campaign, the Onval is liberated except for Scant, and so they're basically having a siege. So that it's like Berlin after West Berlin during the blockade, the Russian blockade. They basically have to support the city from the sea. And they keep doing it, but that it's very, very costly. So maybe the Scarlet Brotherhood will give up, and that will open up interesting possibilities. And also that Nyrond and Greyhawk and a bunch of others might simply band together and send a whole bunch of ships down there and smoke out the Scarlet Brotherhood once and for all, so to speak. So there's a lot of interesting possibilities. Yeah.
So, Gary, I want you to do me a favor, and that is extort. Here's what I said. Wait for this.
Yeah.
Also, I want you to teach me something, teach everyone out there something that you taught me on the very first times we chatted, and that is, are you ready for this? Why is it called the Wild Coast?
It's called the Wild Coast because no empire has ever ruled there.
Ooh.
I have it. Yeah.
The Great Kingdom has never ruled there. Keoland has never ruled there.
Exactly. It was outside. It was the barbarians outside.
They
gates,
were,
so to speak.
you know, the what do you call it? The two Venn diagrams of those realms never crossed there.
Yep.
So you essentially had a realm where you could escape to if you wanted to.
Yep.
A bunch of city-states where you were not untouchable. I mean, obviously they could send assassins or a squad after you, but you know, no one really dominated them.
And that's,
Hirschmark ruined it.
Yeah.
Well,
in a way.
once again, it depends on how far in you've taken it there, and it's just like anything else in From the Ashes. You take it as far as. That's why I don't ever discuss facts and bad wall. I just leave it to, well, we'll see. You know, I have over it as over as a Slaver one and Highport, but I don't talk about them just because I don't want to go there. You know.
And the other
Yeah,
thing that's
I agree with you, Gary. Yeah.
the other thing that's interesting about it was basically the home of Gary's campaign. It was, you know, the place he found most interesting, where he sent the players the most often. So I don't think that wasn't intentional.
When we started, we thought it was a cool name when I was a kid, when I was 12.
Yeah.
Almost every character that we had, because we all played humans or half-elves, because of the multi-class rules. You either dual-classed a human or you played a triple-class half-elf. Humans came from the Wild Coast, half-elves came from Selene. That's how my campaign started.
Okay.
That area. So, you know, going back in the beginning.
Easy enough.
Greyhawk was once part of the GE. Once part of the Great Kingdom. It was part of the Great Kingdom. Yes.
But it was nothing like it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a little podunk place until Zaggy came.
Yeah, it was the local ruler was called the Landgraf, and he was probably, you know, sub and fiefed to like a couple of levels below the Viceroy of Divers. So.
Okay. So I wanted to hear that extort because it was so intriguing to me when that light bulb just went on when Gary had told me that probably a couple of years ago. All right, so let's deal with the Thegnarlet Tarashmak issue.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think? And then Anna.
I had never heard of Thegnarlet until I had Tarashmak running rampant throughout the Central Flatus. So for me, it was not really a conflict.
Okay.
I treat them as separate characters if I had to go back, but I maintain, though, with the Slave Lord series being so long and broad, your chances of player characters killing a Slave Lord or natural disasters or whatever, that there's plenty of room to have Theg and Tursh be separate characters.
Well, it's interesting because A4 sort of set up this like James Bond movie ending with
Yeah.
an earthquake and fire and the whole place falling apart. And the suggestion was that one or more of these guys, if they weren't killed by the PCs, were going to probably be killed by the disaster. And an enterprising DM, of course, would decide which one they wanted to save and bring them back later.
Yeah.
But Theg Narlot never jumped out as one of the more interesting ones to save. I mean, he doesn't even have the same alignment as Turush Mak. One is lawful evil, the other is neutral evil, so it's even a little sloppy in that sense. But I just don't see the necessity of it. It's not like one of those things where people go, "Oh my God, that's so cool."
And I think it's I think it's a miss in the Slavers. The one miss, as I'm not a fan of it. So I leave it nebulous. I just don't go there. I don't, because my guys aren't fighting Turush Mak on the border. They're fighting tribes of them, but usually there's Dark Brotherhood elements behind it or some other despot behind it. I just don't say Turush Mak's running the whole show all over the place. I don't, But what's your thoughts on that, Anna?
Well, I was lazy back when I ran adventures there 20 some years ago, and just used Turush Mak as the major orc villain and his henchmen thwarting and plundering and doing stuff like that. So it was fairly a straightforward kind of war, trying to thwart each other and stuff like that. So I never went into the politics of the area, which is kind of weird because that's normally what my campaigns are very much about. And so in this case, I slipped up at my campaigning, so to speak. So I made it very simple, and it was kind of elves versus humanoids, and kill the bastards. Don't care about what the hell their politics are. Just go after them and root them out. That was the basic idea. And Turush Mak was the main villain. I never had him at the table, and he never showed up. He was just the master villain that send out his henchmen to thwart the party, and that was it.
Jay, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Sargent name Turush Mak, but he never made the Theg Narlot connection?
Correct.
That came later,
who's
right?
Theg Narlot?
All right, I'll show you a picture.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a picture right here.
Enlighten me.
He looks like I'm sorry. He just looks like a dumb. I apologize.
Oh my God! It's one of the worst pieces of art I've ever seen.
He's the second from the left in this, next to the monk. That is Turush Mak, Theg Narlot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a ruse. It's all Turush Mak doesn't exist.
He looks like the 19th century depiction of a moron.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I mean, it's just it's really weird art. But he was named in A4, Anna, as one of the slave lords.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He was a half-orc assassin. Nothing particularly special about him.
Nothing.
I get he's really cannon fodder for the PCs to kill at the end of the module. And suddenly, in Slavers, it turns out that he survived the fall of Sutterham and became, Turush Mak and led these armies up to the north. But if that was always possible, why wasn't it done before?
Well, it might not be possible before, but it became possible afterwards.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I think, that Sean and Chris were trying to make a connection on. I think it's, like I said, I kind of, it feels too, oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble. It feels too R.A. Salvatore-ish for me. Where everything, and it feels too Star Wars-ish, where every single little thing that happens with every little character is interconnected into the grand scheme of everything. You know what I mean? I would have rather had Turush Mak be its own individual person.
But isn't that...
That's right, Zudrak.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of that trap that everything needs to be connected into the story? The trap that generally storytellers of movies, books, and adventures and stuff fall into, because everything needs to be woven into the main. There is a storyline to everything.
It's a small sacrifice. They're not tied to Thurisdan or Vecna or Zagig like everything else.
That is true.
It's also like Vatoon. It's like Vatoon and Stonefist, right? Where it's the Ayus, actually. Yeah, and Mike has, yeah, so another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're correct, Pessimistic. It does track. Just you would think he'd be a much more menacing, maybe figure or whatever, but you can do with it as you wish, right? And that's the great thing about Greyhawk. And my Greyhawk,
Yeah.
I leave it. I don't even go there. I just let it be as a
Yeah.
thing.
And
Good.
I was so, Gary, where do all the slaves go? Why do they capture the slaves? What's the purpose of the slave trade?
So we already know from other sources that the Scarlet Brotherhood and the Sea Princes raid, the Amidio and
Yeah.
Hepmonaland for classic, work slaves for
Mhm.
fields and for.
Yeah.
So they really don't need a small number of highly dangerous to capture slaves from the north for that, right? So I think this is all, espionage, high value targets, and also experts. They want mages, they want clerics, they want fighters,
Yeah.
they want
That's what
experts.
Mike thought too, and it makes a lot
So
of
you
sense.
think
Yeah.
there's some ransoming going on?
There's a lot of that. I think there's also cherry picking. They're deciding, can this person become a useful member of our society? They certainly have the tools in order to convert people.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
I was going to say, but to get experts through capture them by violence seems like a very kind of bad business idea. Isn't it easier to actually teach your own population to do the skills?
It takes time to make a mage.
Yeah.
When you could go to Dame Gold's party and capture 20 all at once.
Yeah, but you have to get them to work for you, and then it takes a lot of
Yeah.
you because you can never trust them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, evil people don't always do, have.
No, of course they don't do
the
it,
brightest
but
of the-
it's simply they want to survive, and to capture powerful people that don't like you, that can kill you, is kind of
So I think
like
I
bad tactics.
I think it's just the same reason that there's slave trade going on in our world today, and that's money, power,
Yeah, but
money,
they
power.
they don't gather mercenary soldiers or something. They get like farmers and farmhands and people that can work in mine pits somewhere.
We don't have a fan. Yeah, we
Well,
don't have wizards.
there's definitely that kind of slave, but presumably the suggestion was that the people who came to Dame Gold's party were all important people. They were ambassadors,
kidnapping and thwarting the
mages,
opposition.
cleerics, people who were important in society and Safeton, including the PCs, if you run it that way. So there's definitely some kind of high value target suggestion there that
and target your enemies high level.
I mean,
creatures. That makes perfect sense, but not to enslave them, but to kill them or ransom them.
Yeah, I mean, Marquess needs subjects. There's probably other experiments going on.
Oh yeah.
That is true.
Is it hard to believe that Marquess did some work on Theg and made him Turish?
Is that one of the suggestions in Slavers?
That's
I don't
interesting.
know.
No, that's a good speculation, though.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of room for conjecture, which is good.
Yeah.
That you can take it whatever direction you want. Like I said, I'm not more right than anyone else in it.
And
But
I don't know that much about the area, so
Yeah.
I never invested that much knowledge into it.
I just think that it was with that one exception, where you just leave it alone, leave it nebulous. It's very, very well detailed.
One more thing before I forget. In the back of Slavers near the end, it explains some of the slave lords' goals, and it says Stallman Klim was gone for like a decade,
right,
wandering the earth like Cain, I guess.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, he is in charge of the slave lords, not a council of 9 or whatever. He's in charge, which implies to me then everything going on with Turish Mach and all that stuff is part of his goals.
Yeah,
it's his goals.
Turish Mach might just be a figurehead.
Yeah.
Very interesting observation.
Do we know what the Earth Dragon is?
That's
I assume it's not.
Questions.
I assume it's not literally a dragon.
I honestly think they stole that from the movie Excalibur a little bit, where summoning the dragon and it's all around. I kind of get that feeling. Yeah. You know, it's like evil nature amplified or something.
But there are some cool dragons there, like umbral dragons. There's a whole bunch of other dragons it could be. That could be, and that was one of my theories back then, but I never developed really, to say that the slaves are not supposed to be slaves at all. They are food for the dragon. The dragon wants them, so they
well, one idea I had back in the 80s when I was reading this is that it's just a euphemism for the elder elemental god.
Yeah, that's another way of going. Yep.
That I heard. I've heard, and I love the elder elemental god, but
tie it to Temple Elemental Evil,
right? But there's no crossover in dogma, and there's no crossover in items whatsoever. So that's why I think that's just it's a connection someone conjectured on. You would think there'd be some item or so. There's no weird, bizarre temples in Earth Dragon, right, where you go insane. Something would be a connection, right? And there's none. I think it's completely separate.
But was
it doesn't have the Lovecraftian elements.
It doesn't. It's more because elemental god's very Cthulhian, and Earth Dragon seems more natural evil.
Yeah, but
they gotta
Temple of
appease
Elemental
the god so that it doesn't blow up their home.
Yeah, but the Temple of Elemental Evil, wasn't that Sukhmoyan's Ayu's little ruse to get the attention to the other side, so to speak, meaning get Furyundi and the bordering countries of Ayus to look the other way and to occupy them, so to speak, little kind of little love projects.
The elder elemental god is all throughout the Temple of Elemental Evil, because you have remember Anna, the wall of tentacles that you fought against on Saturday, that comes from Temple of Elemental Evil. That is right in the temple on level 4. Yeah. So, and that's why a lot of people are going to have a flashback to that when and they didn't want to run. All my players are like, I'm not touching and going near that. I'm not running through it because they immediately.
Well, and that reappears in GDQ 1 through 7 too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we know it's real. There really is an elder elemental god, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
The question is it involved in this case? Elementals aren't good or evil per se. So there's no reason why some kind of earth power, even what is the name of the greater power of earth, the plane of earth? An evil cult could form around this alignmentless being. So, and it just loves to shake mountains.
Of course, Josh had to go there with the return. Yeah. So there's a lot of connections. But I really think that you know what? So I don't know if I asked this question to Sean, and maybe I'm gonna get Sean back on. Maybe I can get Sean and Chris on at the same time. Now that I got that connection, I got to ask them what was they'll tell us what the concept is. One of them had to write it, right? It's one of the two. Let's ask them. Let's find out. Let's find out
and then we could have Rich read that email back to them from Sean back in the.
Oh, what the rage quit email?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I will work on that. That's a great idea. Get them on.
Hey, Sean, how did you react to Russ Taylor telling you to go screw yourself?
Oh my gosh. That is funny.
Which is funny because they both then later, I think that year or the next year, appeared at Gen Con together, and they're in that picture from Dennis's website.
So Mac, Mac brings up a great point on the Neogi, and the Neogi are really weird, and they're kind of like alien. They look like driders and spiders, but they're not. And I've shied away from them because I don't get a feel. I just don't. And he's asking, are they working with slavers? And it's very possible. There's a Neogi adventure.
Spelljammer, yeah.
Yeah, and Spelljammer, yeah. So, but there you go.
I mean, if you wanted to, there's plenty of space for it. Literally.
True. Fail to save on the doors. Is it a permanent thing? You talking about the doors in the front to open them? I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it's If I recall what your question is, I think the answer is yes. But you can go in through side doors. Yep. So, Great Hulk needs Skaven. No, it doesn't. I look. If
I used to run Skaven armies.
If I have my choice between Skaven and Murlocs all the way, buddy. There you go. Yes. So,
You know, the place I've always wanted to run adventures is Stonheim, because it's this dwarven city that was taken over, and you know, it has that mini Moria feeling. So I'd like to fool
That's a
around with
great-
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I don't think Rowdy would be purchasing slaves, Lunch House. I don't think that's his style. I think he's above that.
Mm.
I don't see him as a slave owner at all. My opinion. So, Skaven or on Aquaria, everything's on Aquaria. Okay. It could be Michael. It could be 100%.
No Tyranids.
Oh my God. Yes. See, now
We
we're
know
going.
there's
We're
some
going crazy now.
there's some slavers known as the Tareg in the Bright Desert.
Yes, there is.
Oh, that's kind of a real life crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except they're souls, so they're not.
Yeah, but the
They're
West, they
not
have
that
a lot of
cool.
things that someone was just lazy and didn't come up with cool new names. That just took names from the real world, and to me, that's kind of just then you're just
It's all good.
lazy.
Some where David Howery's writhing in pain.
Hmm.
I also wasn't a fan of Ghost Dance with the Rovers of the Barrens that look like American Indians.
Yeah,
Here's a
And,
pic I haven't shown. I love this pic.
yeah. Al Akbar and stuff like that. That's way. That's just being lazy.
Good art.
No, that is a great pick.
Yeah, that's from A1.
So what we
Yeah.
have here, we had Jeff D, Aerolotus, Rosloff. I'm trying to think of all the old school
Yeah.
illustrators in those books.
I think that's the back cover of A1. Always like I always like the one where the wizard's leaning against the wall, putting up the symbol. I think that's against the Aspis, right? A1. Yep, that's this one. It's like, oh, hanging out. Yeah. So there you go. And look, a bearded female in that picture.
Oh, a dwarven bearded.
Yeah,
female?
look, she's got a beard.
Yeah.
And that's 1980.
Yeah, she has a beard.
Yep, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And is that a D in front too? Yeah, it's a D as well. Yep. Some great stuff back then. So, well, yeah, see? Look at that. Female dwarf, Alwida. Absolutely.
With kind of a chainmail bikini almost. Yeah.
We draw a lot of his TSR art a few years back. Yeah, it looks like it appears his art got thrown away. All of it. It's just so awful. Like you said, Reynolds stuff. I just wanted it. I wanted it real bad, and was disappointed. So, I would say this: you can go land-based, you can go sea-based, you can go. We even talk about Narwhal's way up there, but you can go any town along the coast to start an adventure. Fax is undeveloped, Badwall's undeveloped. Even Pascarel, you could start something there. All the way up and down the coast, you got the whole area to do something, and make it your own, and just and go and fight the slavers. You can do Hardby like I do, and have ship combat. You can start stuff on this. There's all sorts of towns to the southeast of Hardby on the other side, like Oars. You could do stuff there. You could do stuff on the other side. What Scant is, and start something. Hey, leave the Scarlet Brotherhood there. You can do Scant and Scarlet Brotherhood on that side, right?
I've always wanted to know why blue is called blue.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
The impression is that it's a pirate haven, a human.
Do you want to know my thought? It was something else, and it ran off the map, and they cut it. I think it was Blue Haven, Blue Water, Blue. Notice where it is on the map, and on the Darlene map, it's right on the cutoff. I think it was something else, and it just got cut to blue.
Yeah.
And
Hang on a second.
it's never called blue inside the text of the two volumes.
Hang on a second. I can.
I'm just going to take a look and see if I'm correct on that. It's a
Yeah,
conjecture.
because we have an earlier source. So hang on a second here.
Blueport.
I thought it was blue.
Blueport.
I thought it was Blue Water or Blue Harbor or something like that. That's what I thought. And they just ran out of space, and they said, "Oh."
So I just posted a link to a article on Cannon Fire where a fan, Brad Penny, did an extensive history of the Pomarge in that area and the slave lords. That's definitive. It was blue. It's intended to be blue.
What was it? What year is that?
That's the
Glossography
index of the
index.
glossography. You wouldn't make a naming mistake there.
Right,
And-
but what I'm saying is, while they were when Anna was doing when this is me, when Darlene was doing the maps and it's on the edge, and then they had to cut it back. That's just because we know a lot of stuff got moved, and I was just thinking it was off. I always never.
So you're saying the 83 guide may have just confirmed the mistake.
Yeah,
So
confirmed the change.
Does the folio have a reference to blue? I guess would be the question. The next question.
Like I said, I could be wrong. It felt like that it was supposed to be something else. And once again,
But I have the scan from that old map we found in Len's.
Let's take a look at that.
And that blue is on there. And
Okay, so it is
after,
blue.
So that is only
Okay.
blue. Yep. Mm-hmm.
If it's on there on that handwritten
Blue
map, then
versus
that's
red.
correct.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing after. But,
Okay.
But
There you
but
go.
the interesting thing is because there the gap between the left, it's actually between B and the rest of the words. So we know that there's nothing at the end from that one.
Okay, because it's cut right off at that on the maps.
Yeah.
On the
So
okay.
B and then you
Good.
see UE, LUE on the other one. So yeah.
It was a conjecture.
And it's called Steinheim on that, not Stonheim. But
Steinheim.
Yeah, but it's German English, so it's kind of
Mm.
Stein is.
So that was
German.
changed.
Yeah, but they just made it from having a German name to more of an English version of the same
Okay.
name. So yeah.
Cool. It's great
So
to have
we'll-
that reference.
So anybody who's enterprising out there who could come up with a really good explanation for why it's called blue, post it.
It's cool.
But the heraldry better be blue.
Beer mug. Yeah.
Yeah, we could just have it.
Oh my God, it's
I was
10-10.
thinking it might be something be so simple that it's on the edge of the sea and the sea is blue. So
Mhm.
someone
It could be
just-
something.
that just so esoteric simple that
I didn't even
Nothing
realize
more
how
to it.
late we were running. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, we got a ton of stuff to I guess synopsize here. So anyone want to say anything in closing on this on the slavers? There's always going to be questions, and I think I know a lot about it. So you can always ask me. Or,
The other thing I'll throw out real quick is the Last Slave Lord, Dungeon 215.
Thank you.
It's set in Jeklia Bay. So
Oh, nice.
that puts it in the Sea Prince's range of adventures.
Although I find
Yeah.
that name then ironic because there's tons of slave lords in the Sea Princes.
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
just not the slave lords.
exactly. But this one is the slave lord.
Right.
The last one. Yeah.
This is in Dungeon 215, and it's and we explained what it was. It was a rehash after A 4.5. So if you follow the A series,
Yeah.
that is what that is. Yep. Very cool. Very cool. Written and done. It's written in first edition too, which during fourth edition was unheard of. Probably the only one they ever did that way. Or did they do A0, which was during third edition back in first? I forget. So
That was it.
A0's first edition.
see you, Armin. Good to see you. All right, Anna, what's your slavers
I
synopsis?
think it's a very both the Wild Coast and the Pomarsh and the Slavers is a really interesting story, and it's something that I think it suffers from being something that was started in the Gary era and then was not fulfilled or fully developed, and then it's been passed from the buck has been passed around so often that there is no real consistency. No one has sat down and developed a definitive story around it, so to speak. So it's kind of, I think it's a bit kind of a tantamount to how Greyhawk in general have become treated with waves of new products that was loosely tied to the old ones under new regime and stuff like that. So I think the Pomarsh and the Wild Coast have some of the areas that have suffered the most because they got initially so much attention, and then when Gary disappeared, then the focus on them disappeared, and then they got stories that was patched on, so to speak. So it's kind of a patchwork of stories and adventures and modules that tie back to the early days of Greyhawk, but not always the way treated
Very
badly at times, and the best and the worst of
fortunate.
Greyhawk. Yeah.
We're very fortunate. Sean and Chris worked on Slavers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could have easily had Doom Grinder and Star
Exactly.
Oh
Cruiser.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yep.
Oh,
Meaning
you
we
just
have
gave
some of
me
the
an idea.
best content and stuff in this for this area, so to speak. It's just that it's kind of up and down. So yeah.
Wait to look on the not so dark side.
Yeah. Hey, but just think about this. On Saturday night during our stream, Eric Mona called the adventure we did last year the Doom Grinder adventure. So that was a good sign that he remembered the Doom Grinder spinning. I was like, cool. So I've untainted Eric Mona's thoughts on it. You know, but that was
you
just
should
funny.
not taint any of your adventures with the Doom Grinder.
Yeah.
It was
That
fun.
was-
As a miniature, it was awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
No, rewrite it from scratch.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, we got a lot of announcements here. And Gary, why don't you start off with what you're doing for your posts, what's going on with that, and whatever else you want to talk about, please, on Cannon Fire. We got a lot going on.
Yeah, but I'll just focus on I think two things. One, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be hosting a Legends and Lore on the Isle of Dread.
Yes.
So
I forgot the
I'm
banner. Shit.
putting in a ton of preparation for it,
Good.
and I hope to have a handout for everyone. And I'm actually, while I have Mike here, I was going to see if I could get his permission to use his wondrous map.
Go for it.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
I hope we have a good conversation.
And that's Legends of Lore 90, okay? And I was supposed to remember when I did Legends of Lore Banner 89 to make 90 ahead, and I forgot. So I only have 89 up. What's going on next week? But the week after, so March 10th, we're talking about in 2 weeks, is going to be the Isle of Dread, the whole episode, which is going to be awesome.
So one of the things I hope to include in there is a episode by episode reimagining. So I'm reimagining a reimagining how I would have done Savage Tide.
Ooh.
So it's not going to be encounters, detailed encounters or anything, but it's going to be like blow by blow how I would have run Savage Tide.
Look at Mike.
How I would ended it. So the other thing we're working on is, and Mike already knows these because he's one of the most decorated winners of Postfest over the years. So a Postfest. Postfest.
Rich, can you link Postfest for us? Longitalis, while Gary's talking about it.
So years ago, when we first started the site and we were starting to get articles from fans, we thought, what's a way to sort of drum up articles to sort of motivate people to write? And we thought, well, I think we were taking the inspiration maybe from like one of those TSR jams, those kind of things where various authors were putting together different articles in the same book. So we said, why don't we just do a post fest where basically we're asking people to all write on the same subject, post it together, and everyone kind of benefits from all these articles on the same subject. So back in those days, what we do is we'd actually vote on them and declare a winner, like who was the most creative, the most interesting. And Mike took home a lot of those trophies.
That's awesome.
And basically in the process made Uhl his own. I mean, basically Mike owns Uhl. No one can have Uhl.
Yep.
Because of his work there.
Just claimed an area. That's awesome. Yeah.
Exactly. So we said, okay, it's been a few years. Over the years, we did about 18 of them, apparently.
Wow.
Crazy.
And so this will be the 19th. And what is the subject? It's going to be the Underdark.
Yes.
So inspired by Jay's fundraiser last weekend.
Thank you.
So you don't have to write very much if you're interested in participating. Just, a page or two would be plenty for an entry. Do you have an idea of maybe a location in the Underdark, a character, a magical item tied to the Underdark, maybe even just commentary on an existing location or module, and something that just would interest DMs or give them ideas and hooks. And what we'd hope to do this time, instead of doing the contest, what we're thinking of doing is just rewarding everyone who participates by actually compiling these things into a PDF, printing them and sending them to all the authors who have participated. So it's kind of an upgrade of what we normally expect.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've already mooted a cover. I guess it's posted on the Cannon Fire Discord, and we'll be working on that and getting the formatting down. And if you're not comfortable writing, or you're not sure if it would be a good fit, feel free to feel us out about it. We're willing to help anybody at any level of editing they want. If they want us to, polish it up for them, we'll do that. If they want us to just leave it alone and just format it for size, we'll do that too.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
I didn't realize Lloyd Metcalf was on Fell Sky Games. Yeah, so
Awesome.
he's got his whole
great.
design about it. He calls it the Everdark. But yeah,
Wow.
sorry, Lloyd. I was
Awesome.
always look for your name, not your. So there you go. Cool. Yep, absolutely. So throw some of that stuff in there into it.
And dinosaurs for.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Who has
For-
participated so far
I
from the community, Gary, that you know of?
Well, I mean, it's only been a couple of days old, and we've already got a couple submissions from Cannibal.
Good.
And we already have commitments from a handful of people to participate. So, it's going to come. Something is going to come together. I'm going to throw in there material that is for the Underdark beneath Iron Gate. Now,
Awesome.
there's some suggestions already in the Dragon 350 something article about what's going on beneath the Underdark and Iron Gate, and we're gonna expand on that. Rich and some other guys will announce what maybe what they're doing. I think David's participating too. So just with that alone, it'll be interesting.
Guess I may have to write up a quick blurb about the Underdark connection in Glipdale. Maybe. Oh well. Amongst all the other things, right? I'm so happy you brought that back. How many years has it been?
Well, it's been like 4 or 5 years, I think, since the last one. People
Cannon Fire, right there. There you go. There's the site, Cannon Fire there, Lloyd, and the Discord, either or. Join up, please. Feel free. You're more than welcome.
One of the projects we'll also engage ourselves with in the next few weeks is compiling the other 18 in a very nice, easy to read format. So
great.
We will show you the glory of Mike's work, and have that as something you could go peruse on Cannon Fire at your leisure. I mean, there's 18 different topics there.
I've never read any of them.
Mysterious Places was probably the most common topic.
I like Mysterious Places.
Yeah.
No, you're going to find that I'm not the most prolific post-fest author out there.
Awesome stuff.
Not even
there have been a few people. I mean, you can turn in more than one article. That is no problem.
You go.
And there have been people who have stretched that.
And let me ask you this: no rejections, just some edits, right? No. Whatever you submit will get posted and may get edited slightly and fixed or whatever for wording and syntax,
yes,
but it will get posted.
If you have figures or art or maps, we'll work with you to get those in there too. And if you need help working on those, we'll also extend some help for that too.
What an awesome idea, rehashing. And you said how many years was the last one?
I think it's like 4 or 5 years now.
Okay. Yep. Well, Gary, you had a little bit going on there. Isn't that great?
Right.
So,
yeah.
What about Gary? What are you going to participate in Sunday night, March 28th?
Well, Saturday I may be jousting.
Yeah! Oh! I may have convinced them. I may have convinced them to get into the joust finally.
Yep.
But on Sunday we may have one of the greatest assemblage of Greyhawk minds I think we've probably ever put together. So if you have a Greyhawk question, if you want to debate about the 9 demigods, if you want to debate, the Sulan Baklunish empires, if you want any question answered, that's probably your best shot to get a decent answer.
And we'll go as late as we have to that night because it's the last show. We don't have any conflicts, and I will dual stream that one definitely. So here are the 100% confirms. You ready? Gary Julian. Okay, 100% confirmed. Malden, 100% confirmed. Grow Dog Alan Growy, 100% confirmed.
Yeah.
Eric Mona, 100% confirmed. Okay. And then the next one, I think, is probably 60, 75% confirmed. Eric Boyd, confirmed.
So in that collection, you have 2 living Greyhawk Gazetteer authors.
Yep.
And 2 or 3 proofreaders, I think, of the living Greyhawk Gazetteer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they know their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch, awesome to hear that. And your package was sent out today, too. Thank you for your donation to Gary Con as well, man. I've been trying to get all the stuff out. I'll talk about that shortly. But wow. And so I'll find out from Eric shortly. And you know, I may try another carrot or icing on the cake here. I may just push it and see, you know. I may go for it. I may say, hey, Luke, what are you doing Sunday night? Besides watching Stefan Bacorny's stream. Oh, he's playing it. Damn. He's playing that stream, isn't he? Right, Josh? He's playing that stream. I think he's playing it. If he's not playing it, I'm getting him for that too. But we'll see. We'll see. But that's a great lineup.
Yeah.
Great
I mean,
lineup.
short of getting you know,
We're gonna miss Len.
Kuntz and Menser and
Yeah.
Luke together. That would be another great
Yeah,
lineup. I'd love to see that someday.
We're gonna miss Len because we had Len during GreyHawkCon. You
Mhm.
know, that's
Yeah.
the one that we can't. Unfortunately, he's irreplaceable. But
Yeah.
you know, there's always 1 or 2 others that may come out of the woodwork. You never know. And here, oh my God, I want to join that. You know, so who knows? Maybe Jason or James will want to hop in because Eric's in. You never know. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and, like, you know, sweeten it up a little bit more and go from there. But what a wonderful, exciting thing that Gary's got going on. For and then, you know, we'll give him next week off with Legends Lore when we show you what we got running.
Yep.
So what's up, Anna?
Well, I've been digging hard into the next generation Greyhawk maps on my Patreon site, and I've just posted links to them on my Facebook group today. A series of articles. I think there's 4 of them now, talking about how I'm going about making the new mapping Greyhawk again. Yeah, because that's what you do when you've done something for 20 years. You start all over again to try and do it better. So that's the philosophy. So yeah. So I'm working on this. I'm doing the Southern Shield lands simply because that's what I'm using for my campaign. So it's also the test maps for my campaign. So my campaign will use a kind of an unfinished version. We'll see how much of them will actually carry over to the final version, but hopefully most of it. And I'm in the phase of soon getting into the juicy bits of texturing. That's when the map's starting to look good, so to speak. And so that is coming. Hopefully next week there will be the first kind of real test in getting the texturing done. And once the texturing will be in 2 bits. And after texturing, that is the presentation bit, meaning how do you take the end result and make it look pretty and present it with all the labeling and stuff like that in various forms. That might take longer because there's many different ways to present it. So there will be various ways in months to come. But as soon as I dug into texturing and I see that the end data can be used, so to speak, I can get to that phase, then I will start work on Lendor Isles. So it might be a few weeks out to start working on Lendor Isles. So that is coming along fairly nicely. So I'm really happy with the results so far. They kind of, yeah, it's kind of amazing. I have over 1,000 square miles mapped, ready to be textured, and that is kind of, yeah, it's kind of. I never thought it will take forever. I thought to get to this point, but it's been a lot of hoops to go through and a lot of dead ends over the years. But now I'm starting to really feel like this. Now it actually works to get it done. So that's one of the things that I'm currently working on. I have one commission that I'm working on as well. So that takes a lot of time, but hopefully it will not be that many more than a few weeks, and I can put that commission behind me too. And then I have a bunch of, I will redo, there will be a new version of the 576 map this year. Yeah. an update to it, because there's a bunch of things I want to do, and also people keep bugging me for the 598 map. So hopefully I can update that one too to the latest standard, so to speak. So yeah, so that was something I've realized, that when summer gets hot here in California, and we have these 115-degree days when you basically go out and run in the morning and then you sit home and work the rest of the day. So that might be projects I want to kind of dig into and see if I can get done. It's the 598 map. It's basically just updating all the additions and changes I did for the 576 map. So that should not be, I've said this many times, that it's only a few weeks and then it ends up being 6 months, but I hope not. So I'm going to see if I can upgrade the 598 map to a proper modern standard too, so to speak, because when the 598 map was a standard map, so to speak, then everybody bugged me for the 576 map. So I thought no one was interested in the 598 map. Now when the 598 map is kind of fallen on the wayside, all of a sudden people say, oh, but I like that map, I've used it, and now it doesn't match and stuff. So yeah, so that is something to do. And then I'm going to revamp my Patreon again in May. I can say there are now, you can pledge either monthly or you can pledge by yearly, and there is a rebate. I haven't announced that to anyone, but you can actually get it. You get 2 months for free if you take it yearly, and that rebate will be on until May 1st.
I did that.
Yeah, and do it. After that, you will get 1 month off instead of 2 months off. And also I will revamp the tiers a bit, so the $1 tier would disappear. And the other tip is that if you get in on the $1 tier, you can stay on the $1 tier as long as you want.
Yep.
So the $1 tier will be a $2 tier, and then the $3 tier will disappear. So it will be 2, 5, and then it will be a $10 or a $20 for those who really want to I will call it the vanity tier or something like that for people. And I have a few ideas for a couple of special perks, but it mainly for the people that really want to support me and get their names on maps, especially, and logos and stuff like that. So it's basically just a vanity tier for a few to really show off that they want to support me. And then there will be the $5 tier for the main tier for people who want to learn all the technical stuff and so on. And the $2 tier will be the general tier. The reason for going from 1 to 2 is that almost half of that $1 goes in fees and stuff. So unfortunately, it's kind of, but people who want to stay on the $1 tier, if you get in on the $1 tier before, you will be grandfathered into the $2 tier for $1. So that will stay as long as you stay on, so to speak. And also after that, I will start posting things secretly for a while and then afterwards. Now during COVID and all the pandemics, everything has always been open. So I published, everything has been public, because I know that there's a lot of people who had difficult times, and me included from time to time. So that's why I realized that some people can't afford and don't have the chance to support anyone or support as much during the pandemic. But I will end that on May 1st and go back to the normal regime of having it behind the paywall, the Patreon paywall, for a month or so, and then publish it. So that will be back to normal. And there will also be a bunch of cooperations. I have several now partners in crime, just like I'm on Jay's channel a lot and so on. So I have a friend back in Sweden, Kajsa. She's an illustrator, professional illustrator and stuff. We are going to collaborate on a bunch of projects, including new symbols and a bunch of interesting stuff, so to speak. So she's really eager to help me out on that. So that's one that's coming. I'm also going to see if I really now dig into see if I can get a printing partner for various projects, including Greyhawk maps. So yeah, I'm going to reach out to Noble Dwarf. I haven't talked to them I've talked to them before, early, like a couple of years ago. We met at Orcon down in LA, and he's printing for Alyssa Faden and a whole bunch of other of awesome artists and stuff. So I'm going to see, and he
Someone
lives
else soon too.
Yes, exactly. And I was going to get to that. Merch is one thing that also people have asked me to get T-shirts and stuff like that a bit, and other stuff. So that's something that we've talked to Chuck Trollord's Trollord about that. So hopefully there could be merch coming later this year. So that will be. Stuff coming that way. And I'm also, this is the first time I'm talking about it, because, and that's something I plan to do next year, is to do my first Kickstarter. So that, yeah, that's in the plans for next year. Maybe it will probably push it to spring 23. We'll see. But there is, I'm gearing up to do my first Kickstarter.
Awesome.
And I'm not going to spill the beans too much what it is. It's not particularly directly Greyhawk, but there will be some nifty feedback into Greyhawk that way that will come out later. I don't want to advertise it as a Greyhawk thing, and it will not really be a Greyhawk thing.
Right.
But there will be a crossover, because all the material I can do for the Kickstarter can be used for mapping the rest of the planet. So there will be some crossover there. And the idea with the Kickstarter is to do generic big area. So you want a desert map, you want a map of a mountain chain, you want some jungle map or something like that, and to do generic areas that are a couple of 100 miles by a couple of 100 miles, something in high detail that could be printed, used at VTTs and stuff like that. So that's the general idea of it. And these areas can then be incorporated into future Greyhawk maps too. So I will do them with an idea of where to place them on the planet, so to speak. So the effort I make for a Kickstarter is not going to be wasted. That can be reused in Greyhawk, so to speak. So, but they will be labeled as generic. So there will be a series of them, because people have asked me to do this. Can I use my maps, use your maps in virtual tabletops and stuff? And also people ask for printed maps. So this is a project that I want the Kickstarter to be able to have printed maps. So we can have, and Noble Dwarf and others can do 60 inches. So I'm aiming for have something that is mapped 60 by 60 or printed 60 by 60 or something in that range. And if that falls well out, then we can see if we can have like for the first time in history, maybe have someone that can actually print my Greyhawk maps in more detail and have it regular, so to speak. So you can actually go there and get a printed copy. That will be good, so to speak. But the thing is, I need to use GIS-based maps so we can adjust the size, so you're not forced to print it at whatever enormous wall size, so you can get a smaller print or a larger print as needed, so to speak. So there's a printing is a world by itself that is kind of really tricky and difficult. But so I hope that I can start developing a version of the maps that is even better geared for large printing. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm working on for next year and 2 years, like a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, while I'm also developing the new generation of Greyhawk maps. There's game engines and a whole bunch of stuff. I have a collaboration with a friend, Linda Booth. She's doing 3D buildings and close-up stuff and so on. So we are coordinating. So she's working from the small end of things and me from the large end of things. And then we can see that we can actually make things that can be connected on the two. So she can work on the village map or city map, and I can work on the surrounding terrain and have it placed in the world. So there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. And then some other software developments and stuff that it's too early to talk about because there's NDAs and then negotiations and stuff like that. But hopefully within a couple of years, there can be some really cool developments coming. So I'm just going to say, now I'm doing this full time and I have to pay for everything myself and and pay all the bills and stuff. So every penny is very, very useful, I must say. So thank you everyone who helped me doing this, and so I don't have to apply apply to work at Amazon at warehouse or
Oh
something
my
like that,
gosh.
or yeah, do something like, because those are the readily available jobs around here. So it's especially in the pandemic, it's very much a privilege to be able to sit at home and work on stuff like this. So thank you everyone who makes it possible. I love you all. It's just been a pleasure. I'm going to work really hard to make more content in the future and better ones too, and more stuff. So sorry, that was an enormous long tangent, so to speak, but lots of things are in the making. Yeah.
Nice.
So, Mike, what's going on?
Oh, you know me, I'm not doing much of anything.
Oh yes, you do.
So, latest on the blog, article about racks of wort. Speaking of blue,
Yeah.
we'll see what comes up next. I don't know. Unlike Anna, I don't plan. I barely plan a week ahead. Like those 3 years, but
Speaking
Yeah.
of a week ahead, I pilfered next week's Legends and Lore. Let's go right to it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Off of Mike's blog from 2015.
Yep.
So for next week, 5 reasons to visit ...
Oh, I love this topic. Yep.
So Mike, tell us about this.
Well, I was looking for ideas for columns, and I decided that, much like on Cannon Fire with Rich and Gary's postcards things, I was trying to synopsize 5 good adventure reasons to go to different countries. I hit some of the bigger ones, but I didn't really do an extensive
Love the
entire
Keelbane
tour.
one.
Yeah, I hit the obvious ones, and just riffed on those 5 locations, and hopefully I would bring up something someone's never heard of.
Well, what I
Yep.
think we're going to do on a lot of the obscure ones, so I got throat issues. I've been talking so much. I'll say something. I'll go Theocracy of the Pale, and then I want to see what happens in chat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Give us 5 reasons to visit there.
Mhm.
I think that'll be cool. Hey, we're
Yeah.
going to do Nyrond. I guarantee it, Rich. So, but I just thought it was a cool idea,
Mhm.
and that'll be next, and that'll be the filler between this episode and Isle of Dread, which will be number 90.
I don't know why I didn't. Yeah, I did do Nyrond.
Yeah.
I had to look.
See you, Canadian.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow night. Thanks for your support. So that is next week, but tomorrow night is the finale of Classes and Crusades Verdant Rage. So yes, finally they're in the ancient shrine, and everyone saw the wonderful 3D print that Bill Master Crafter made up, and they're underground now, and they're looking for this. What happened to the Druid Argus, and what's the cause behind the grave mold, and all the wildlife going berserk, and all the undead. So we'll see if they figure that out. Well, hopefully, and that'll be tomorrow night. Gamescape 3D giveaways. They're doing the Ruined Fortress, which is that mega fortress giveaway tomorrow night. It is massive. I think I have a picture of it here. Ah, shit, I don't. It's on. Sorry for swearing. It's under. Let me go to Gamescape 3D. I know it's right here. Boom, boom, giveaways. That STL. I don't even want to know how many months that's
Wow.
gonna. That is massive. That's the one giveaway, and the other 2 will be the building that we have, the Town Watch building, and the Elf House. So you'll get that STL. You've seen that all on we had that up on Saturday night. That one, and then the other combined with the Elfin House STL. So you got some cool things for tomorrow night, and that'll be starting at 7:30. Sunday. What a cool gabbin'. And this is all from your doing, everyone. I don't know how many people said, what's this bounty hunter you have about on Saturday night that Alan has that multi-class bounty hunter mage? So I said, well, you know what? I've really never, maybe a little bit, but I haven't gone over in synopsis our custom classes. So on Gabbin on Sunday, we will do part 1, because there's so many, it's going to take 2 weeks. Creating custom player classes, part 1. Now, if you notice, the post changed, and there's a reason for that. So I had up my Inquisitor and my Undead Hunter. I'm pushing that back to the second show. because the classes that Build a Master Crafter created, he'll be on this Sunday. He didn't know what Sunday he could make it. So he's going to make it this upcoming Sunday with us, Anna. And he's going to talk about his classes he's made, in particular the Maester, the Harrier, Archer, and the Saxon, the Foot Knight.
Yeah, there's some really one, and the Maester I think is really interesting because that's a class that is kind of beside the normal.
Yeah, it's Game of
classes,
Thrones
so,
too.
yeah, exactly, and
Yeah.
so it's a very interesting. Yeah, they're all interesting in his way, but that one is the most kind of often beaten.
It is. It's basically our Sage Crafter
Yeah.
and an adventuring party, which has always been lacking.
Yeah.
So, and it's very customizable. So we're going to go over these classes, develop them, talk about how we did them. And that'll be on Sunday for that. So I know I'm missing a ton of things I wanted to talk about. Just note, thank you so very much. We're now $10,020 whatever dollars from that last donation, which is great. I'm going to keep it open to the end of the week, then I'm going to close it out. So, but thank you. We have Gary Con is next, and the planning is moving forward. I believe I have that final time slot filled Thursday at 10 a.m. with the streamer. So the schedule will be out and finalized soon. Okay. And I'll start sharing that, but I wanted to have the entire 4 days completely covered before I start blasting that everywhere. Note this, if you are going to participate, you have to get submissions in immediately. We're running out of time. It's going to get closed out shortly, probably next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. So I got to if you want to DM something, and you don't have to stream it, just like GrailCon, get them in. Remember to put them in type 05, which is Virtual Greyhawk Adventures with signups. All right. So please, if you want to participate, if you want to sign up, I would sign up too and get your badge, because event signups start like March 8th or 9th. So you know how quick stuff's going to go. Carlos's game. I don't want to sound arrogant. My games. I heard Oblivion Les say everyone's asking, well, can I get in your game? Yeah, sign up for it. That's what a con is. You gotta sign up for the stuff you want to get. It's gonna be a mad dash for a lot of stuff. So please get in there, get ready to sign up for the events you want to participate in. The big stream stuff will all be on Twitch, so you don't have to worry about missing any of that. No problem. Just note, we're not going to be on our regular channels. We're going to be on Gary Con Greyhawk. I made a concession to Luke. It's okay, though. It's going to be good for the community. I think we're going to get these people who don't know about us as streamers and say, there's no Gary Con 1, 2, 3. There's no priority anymore. The channels all have names. So I think you're going to get people, Gary, what do you think about this concept? People who are, there's a Greyhawk channel for Gary Con? That interests me. And then that's how they're going to find the community out. I think we have our own named Gary Con channel. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. More details are going to be coming in the next couple weeks. One last date. The Sunday before Gary Con. I don't even know what Gabbin number this is, but it's Sunday, March 21st. I've already confirmed Luke Gygax for that Gabbin. Okay. So, and he's going to come on and push Gary Con at the end, for that weekend before. So we got Luke coming back on Gabbin. I'm pushing out some other guests. Trust me, Ed Greenwood will be back in a Wizards 3 Gabbin. I got all this stuff. I feel I need 8 arms. I need a 6-arm Sahagwin Prince arms for right now. What's going on? But note, we're all excited about everything. So, yeah, there's some great stuff. Absolutely. Yep. So, any questions? What do you all think tonight? Great show. Great discussion.
Awesome.
I had a blast.
Cool.
And it was
I know we ran super
I hope
late.
that the viewers or everyone who's participated so awesome in chat that you liked it too. Yeah.
Yeah, and congratulations once again on last weekend.
Thank you.
It's such a great thing you did there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I was so blown away by the community support. When we were Friday night, I had no doubt we were blasting 5,000. And when I moved it up to 6, I'm like, let's shoot for 6. Maybe we'll get to 6,500, 7. And when it got to when it was a good day. I mean, at 4:00 in the
Yeah.
morning, we had donations with Tim on, right? And then when we got to 5,300 when we started on Saturday night, and Eric just was on roll, right? And then I could not keep up. It was that crazy. It was so much fun, and
We get
yeah.
a boost for a hero point for every die roll we made the last hour. Basically, that was so much fun.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, Saint Kargoth would have loved to have the fundraiser for himself, but he'll take Saint Jude.
Yeah, but Bane.
Another fellow saint,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. So it will be back in 2022. Josh wants 20. Let's walk before we run.
Yeah.
Please. I got so much any other things going on before then. Let's get through Gary. We got all Greyhawk Con in October. We got so much stuff we're planning out. Yeah, exactly. You had the first stream had 60 people watching it at 8:00 in the morning on Friday, which is insane. Will had almost 100. Like he surpassed 100 for the first. Yeah, just crazy.
Yeah.
I think John had 125, 130.
Yeah.
We hit 250. We hit 250 people on that Saturday night. It was just nuts, and it just was.
We have to make St. Jude an honorary demigod or quasi-deity or something for Greyhawk for the event.
Yeah, so just note, thank you. What a wonderful time. And let's make the next thing for this community to do, along with all the other little projects, and get in on the posting, get in on participation. But we want to make I'm arrogant here. There are 5 Gary Con channels. I want to blow the shit out of all those other channels. You know what I'm saying, everyone? I want God, I'm going to get in trouble. I want the Gary Con Gaxmore channel. I want to double it. I want to be double their viewership. You know what I mean? That's what I want. I want to kick their asses. I want us to be the most watched one. That's what I want. Exactly. You see, Jimmy's running the whole thing. You know me. It's a challenge, Jim. It's a challenge, stuff. I want to show the power of this community to everyone. So, yeah, that's what I want. I want to kick some butt during Gary Con, with our community. I know I'm bad, but in a good way. All right, thank you all. I'm sorry we ran so late tonight. Let's give Will a little love while he's still on. Will stepped up and ran 6 hours on that stream when his was set for 4 when the Nighthawk Gaming Texas thing happened. So let's get in there. I'll talk about my thoughts about next year's fundraiser, what I want to do to really crash it up here. But let's hit the right button. How about this one? Go hit the right button.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, we're rating the Wicked Studios. Please hang in, say hello, and call it a night. I'll see you tomorrow night. Oh my God! Stop. Go back. Don't come back. Everyone, come back. Don't leave yet. I forgot the giveaways. Come back.
No drawing yet.
Come back.
Sure,
I will. Duh.
Okay, yep. Mm-hmm.
Let's do the giveaways.
Yeah.
My apologies. Yeah. Giveaways. We have 3 of them. All right. If you're not on, I'll just assign them because of that faux pas. $25 gift certificate to Cobalt Press. $25 gift certificate to Castle Entertainment. All 3 Marquess modules, PDF, special Marquess bundle. Okay? Here we go. I'm going to close this out, everyone. The show was good enough, but I had you all sign up, so I can't have you go away. That was my bad. Okay, closing it out. Ready? Winner 1. Josh Pop. Jonathan, which one do you want? Don't tell me you're not here now, please.
It was here a second ago.
Yeah. Winner 2. Hager the Horrible. I know. I just saw you on too.
He's there.
Yeah, I know Josh is. Josh probably went over ahead. I'll Discord him. Hager, which one do you want? $25 gift certificate to Cobalt Press or Castle or the Marquess bundle. Your choice, Tiger. Third winner. Zytec 2K 2002. Good job. All great viewers.
Cool.
You want the bundle. Okay, so Tiger, you get the Marquess. I'm going to direct you to Hager. Do you have a Discord or an email? Can you whisper me an email address, please, so I can whisper me an email. All right, Zytec, which one do you want, Zytec? Do you want the $25 gift certificate to Cobalt or Troll Lord? Yep, yes, which one? Troll Lord? I'm sorry, not Troll Lord. Cobalt Press or Castle Entertainment? Your choice. Cobalt Press or Cobalt. Okay, so there you go. Josh gets the Castle Entertainment. That was easy enough. Okay.
Boom.
Zytec 2K. I'm just going to whisper you the code Zytec here when I get a chance. It may, when I get it may be tomorrow morning, but I will get it to you. All right. Hager, I need you to whisper me your email so I can have Amanda send that directly to you. Now we're going to do it. Sorry about that. My apologies. Glad we got that done. Take your time. Take your time. Just click on whisper up top. Lord Kazumba. I felt bad. I can't go away without giving away that stuff. Nice number 60. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow night. On me, huh?
Did you shut down the stream this time?
Yeah, shut down. I didn't crash it.
Yeah, before we